It is the 53rd edition of the Labor Day Classic between the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts from downtown Hamilton. It is a sold-out crowd today at Tim Hortons Field. And history on Hamilton's side in this game is they have gotten the better of their arch rivals over the years, but the Tiger Cats without a win in 4 straight games.
There's Chad Kelly getting ready for this game. We saw him last week before the game. His emotions were high. I can tell you, his emotions are high again. He knows he's going to hear it from this crowd. I think that gets him going.
You're looking at Bo Levi Mitchell. This guy leads the league in yards thrown for, touchdown passes, and I'd venture to say with wins, he's 6-0 on Labor Day Classics.
Nadeem Cash and Carey, third in the league with 646 yards rushing. He's on pace for a career yards in rushing, and getting Chad Kelly back may open the door for him even more.
Well, Milt, from the ground to the air, and it could be a day to remember for Tim White. The Tiger Cats receiver just 43 yards away from 4,000 in his career. I'll tell you this, he'd give up all those numbers to just turn around this Hamilton Tiger Cats season so far. It has been a rough one, but it is a spectacular day, and we all know when it's Labor Day Monday, there's a little bit of a difference feeling in the air, especially for these Hamilton fans. Hello, Canada, and welcome to Hamilton Caperness alongside Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. We got a little more sleep last night, so we're a little more fired up, even though I'm still thinking of that game in Regina last night, because Labor Day weekend, it hasn't disappointed. It never does. In this game in particular, it never disappoints. We'll get the panel's thoughts in just a moment. But first, let's join our Matthew Shinetti. And Matthew, as I said off the top, it hasn't been great for the Tiger Cats as of late, but when it comes to this game in particular, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just different, Kate, and I'm going to get to the point of how different it is for both teams. But this week, Stavros Katsantonis on Thursday at 5:30 in the morning walked to the Tim Hortons, which is actually right across from Tim Hortons Field, to get some donuts for the medical staff. And as soon as he walked in, the welcome he got was, "You're ready to win this week?" Because the fact is, the Ticats are 2-9. They're at a situation right now where everything going on in the standings hasn't gone their way for them. But when you're taking a look at this game and what it means, well, it's not about the name on the back. It's about the logo on the helmet. So Scott Milanovic showed a video to his players this week about the history and significance of this game. He knows it because he was on the other side of the Toronto Argonauts. Has not won here when he was a head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. And then I spoke to Bo Levi Mitchell, who, Matt, you went ahead and said is 6-0 in these Labor Day Classics. And he said to me, "I'm locked in today." After everything that he's had to deal with, although his stats are so high up in the CFL rankings with passing yards and touchdowns, today is important to him because it feels like it matters. It's a little different for the Argos. I've been speaking to their coaching staff before the game. No videos, no hyperbole. They were only focused on the standings. With Ottawa losing in Touchdown Pacific, it gives them the opportunity to go up and challenge for that second spot in the East. So at practice this week, Chad Kelly, as you're mentioning, Davis, he was fired up. DeMonte Coxey making circus-level catches. And Jake Serezna is just waiting to reacquaint himself with Bo Levi Mitchell, as they did out in Calgary on Labor Day here in Southern Ontario. But today is not about the playoffs. It's not about what happens after tomorrow. It's singularly about today, and the emotions are always so important. I know you guys are going to touch upon that. Stavros Katsantonis was asked this week, given the fact that the Ticats are the most penalized team in the CFL, can they go up to that line of aggression and not cross it? He said, yes, we don't like anyone who wears blue. But there's a lot of hyperbole on the Ticats side this week, given what's on the line for them. One thing Katsutoda said at the end, though, he goes, today's going to be a bloodbath. 30 minutes away, Kate.
And Matthew, I know this is not a playoff game, but my goodness, it always feels like coming to a playoff game on Labor Day Monday here in the CFL. And Davis, you touched on this in the beginning, and for Chad Kelly, this is a hostile territory for him. And I don't know about you guys, I was walking in today, I already saw signs. I just saw fans just ready to get on top of him. And look, having his first start back in Toronto is one thing, but Matt, for him to walk in here today, I think it's going to be a totally different situation.
Yeah, and it's not going away for this kid.
It is not.
Last week he was in his own backyard, and it's still a tough place to play, coming off his long suspension. And look, that's going to be with him for the rest of his career. He's got to get used to it right in Hamilton, because these Hamilton fans are relentless, and they're not going to let that go. And he needs some lifelong earplugs in, because it is going to be with him, and he'll have to get used to doing it. And from my understanding, Kate, you talked to me a little earlier about one of his antics coming off the bus. He's got to change that. He can't be telling the Hamilton Ticats they're number one. He's got to go out there and prove that his team's the best in the league. And the best way to do that and to quiet the fans is get off to a quick start and to put the ball in the end zone and take the team out of it, Davis. That's the only way you can do it, because these Ticat fans, they're not going to forget.
Yeah, Chad Kelly is a polarizing figure, and since he was probably 10 years old, he's probably had people booing him and yelling at him. He's been a great player for a long time, and he's just got that kind of personality. And I've seen the way he reacts. It's not going to bother him, and he's not going to cower and be timid. Chad's going to be aggressive. It's actually going to fire him up. The only thing I would be concerned with if I was an Argos coach or someone with Chad is trying to calm him, to make sure that he can go through his progressions, to stay even keel, because he's got the dog in him. He's not going to back down. He's got to stay even keel, would be my biggest concern.
The thing about what he better understand is not only the fans, but those players he's going against, they're going to try to throw him off. They're going to try to throw him off mentally. So I wouldn't be surprised if you hear some of those players saying some things to Chad Kelly also.
All right, let's go to the other side now. And for Bo Levi Mitchell, this is a monster game for him, to say the least. Everything he's been through so far this season, but historically, he's been phenomenal on Labor Day. A perfect 6-0. The caveat to that, though, is he has not started in this game since 2019. But for him to get this win today, it would be so massive, Matty.
Yeah, it would. And it's football, so nothing's changed. It may have been a long time ago since he started at Labor Day Classic. He knows how to win these. He knows how to play football. Look, I mentioned it earlier off the top. He leads the league in throwing yards. He leads the league in touchdown passes. And he can flat out play some football. And he's going to have to play his best football tonight, or this afternoon, because this game, it's just different. You heard Matthew talk about it. We talked about it last night. We talked about it in Victoria. These games are different. It's taken up a notch, and you got to control your emotions, and you got to just stick to football. And we know that Bo Levi Mitchell can play some football.
Yeah, and Bo probably understands the situation here. Taylor Powell, we talked to him before the game. He's likely back next week.
Yep.
It seems as though he would be the starter when he comes back.
Yep.
Now, how do you think Bo is? Is he aggressive? I think Bo will go out there and be aggressive, understanding he's got full confidence in himself. He wants to show, hey, this could be my team. Here's what I can do. I expect to see a very aggressive Bo Levi Mitchell today.
Totally agree with you. And he always talks about having fun. He talked to us before the game. So I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to go out there and enjoy myself, live in the moment, and have fun. I'm not going to worry about how well I was in the past or what's going to happen in the future. I'm going to enjoy the moment, and because of that, as you mentioned, he's going to go out there and fling it.
And you know what was fun, Kate? He was wearing overalls. That's what was fun. The overalls.
He looked horrible. He looked horrible.
He was wearing overalls.
He looked bad.
Why?
He looked bad. I don't. He said something with the offensive line.
I couldn't pull it off.
And you know who else has swag? This game.
Hogtown meets Steeltown. The Hammer against the Big Smoke.
This is what we like, man. Labor Day, baby. Let's get it.
A rivalry steeped in tradition and history and seeping also with some bad blood.
What you think gonna happen on Labor Day, man? We have to go.
Labor Day has officially begun.
Yes, sir.
The Hatfields and McCoys are back at it.
Fans hate each other. The players hate each other. There is nothing like the Labor Day Classic in Steeltown.
Sold out in Victoria, sold out in Regina, sold out in Hamilton. Is there anything better than Labor Day weekend in the CFL? The answer is no, and trust me, all of these fans here today know it. Here is Dwayne Ford with more on Flow.
Thanks, Kate. And, Pro Football Focus
According to them, since the start of the 2023 season, only 2 defensive ends in the CFL have higher pass rush grades than Folarin or Rimolade. That's Matthew Betts and Willie Jefferson, 2 guys who have won Most Outstanding Defensive Player awards within the last 4 years. Now, none of these guys are one-trick ponies, but I went back and looked at every sack for each of these 3 guys since the start of last season and found the strength of each of them. When you look at Betts, it's all about his get-off. Watch how quickly he gets off the line compared to everybody else here. Ball is snapped. He's even with the football already. His head's crossing the line of scrimmage. Nobody else has even moved. He gets on top of offensive linemen so quickly, the blockers don't have a chance to get their feet set. Now, when you talk about Willie Jefferson, everybody wants to talk about his length. His length is only part of it. The fact is, Willie Jefferson has fantastic hands. Watch how he uses the right hand here to bat away the tackle's hands. Willie is able to use his length and that skill with his hands to keep blockers from getting their hands on him first. But nobody can bend it like Flo. Now, offensive tackles, they want to keep edge rushers to the outside as long as possible, past the launch point. But watch how Flo dips his shoulder, lowers his hips, gets underneath that block to bend that edge inside and shorten his line to the quarterback. Nobody does it better. When you look at his sacks, most of them are just like that. But I want to look at this play because he uses that same skill, that ability to make those tight turns to make a different kind of play. Here, it's in pursuit, tracking down the quarterback. The other 3 linemen are closer, but he bends it around, tracks down Jake Mayer to get that strip sack. Has that fantastic bend, as they say, the ability, that tight turning radius to get after quarterbacks. Never mind bend it like Beckham. Every defensive lineman wants to bend it like Flo.
Isn't that the truth? All right, it's time to take a look at the 5 most popular anytime TD picks at FanDuel for tonight's game. You'll notice a trend here. 4 of the 5 most popular anytime TD bets are Argos, including Toronto defense coming in at 3rd on the list. The lone tie cat on this list actually happens to be the most popular anytime TD pick in Tim White. It is time for the experts, starting with Davis Sanchez.
I got Dakota Prukop. What's going to be here, the short yardage quarterback? Expect Dakota to hear a lot of crowd noise, obviously. One thing, too, Chris Jones has simplified this defense. I talked to Captain Tonos before the game. He simplified this defense. They're running fast, but expect crowd noise and short yardage to be an issue for what I would expect a physical defense.
So you're going with who?
Dakota Prukop.
I'm going with the Toronto Argonaut defense again. In a game like this, expect the unexpected, and big plays, explosive plays. You can see Janarian Grant maybe factoring in, but Milt, I think the Toronto defense is going to get a scoop and score, a pick 6, and flip this game in an explosive play.
Last year when Chad Kelly was balling, his number 1 target was DeVaris Daniels. When Chad played his first game last week, he was getting the ball. He was trying to get the ball to DeVaris, threw it to him 10 times, only had 4 catches for 40 yards. This week, that connection is going to happen in this game. DeVaris Daniels, one of the best big playmakers in this game, will have at least 1 touchdown. I'm calling it.
I was going to pick Janarian Grant. By the way, did you notice he taped his dreads today?
Oh, yeah.
He did. He was sick of getting dragged down, so that's a new revelation. But I went with Tim White, as I mentioned off the top. He may hit that 4,000 mark today. So let's take a look one more time. There's only 1 Tiger Cat on this list as we look at our picks. I'm going with the most popular pick to score a TD with Tim White. Everyone else is on Toronto, including Maddie taking the Argos D to score at 4-1 odds. Our Anytime TD Challenge picks officially locked in. Here once again is Matthew Shinetti with a couple of guys who know a thing or two about playing in this game.
Yeah, you know, Kate, this is a microcosm of my career because here I sit between so much energy and guys who, you know, honestly can't ever just be quiet. We only have 1 mic, so alongside Simone Lawrence and Enoch Muamba, guys, I've been very lucky to cover this game for over a decade. What makes it different? And I know I'm going to, you know, it's not going to be good, but I'm going to give him the first go on this one because it is Hamilton.
He's home. About time y'all give Hamilton some home field advantage.
Here we go.
Well, first of all, what makes it different is, first of all, 2 of the best players not playing in the game, first of all. But we did welcome Enoch here in 2021, I think it was, after the whole league was shut down, and Enoch came to Hamilton for his first Label Day ever in 2021. He led his team out. I led my team out. I don't know what happened, but TSN could play the clips from 2021.
How different was it knowing that you'd played in Winnipeg against Saskatchewan. How different was it on Labor Day Monday for you?
Man, it was extremely intense, man. It's one of those games where it doesn't matter how the season is going. If you're not having a good season, you want to get on this game because this is where you want to let out the frustration. But there's so much energy over here all the time. You walk in there, those tunnels right there. It is just rowdy. The fans here are amazing. So it's that type of experience that you want to have when you play in the CFL.
But how do you manage those emotions, right? Because you're managing from different perspectives. I know that everyone in the city would have been talking to you for the 10 years that you were here saying, win this week. They did to Stavros Katsantonis earlier in the week. And how did you manage it from the Argos side, knowing that the Argos' suck chance are the least of your problems?
Oh, man, listen, you focus on the details. You focus on the things that matter, and those are the things that happen in between these white lines right there. And so you got to have good leadership in the locker room that gets the guys to focus on the right things. And one of the things that this team, in the past at least, has done really well, knowing how emotional it is to get on this field in this particular game, you know, they kind of bait guys into getting for net penalties. And so it's about discipline, it's about focus, and it's about being able to execute your assignment. And so it comes down to that, and it comes back down to the leadership that you have to apply from the leaders in that locker room.
Baiting? You guys don't bait anybody. I've never seen you guys bait over 10 years, really?
As you can see, he's obviously compromised. We don't bait anybody. We just come out here and play football. That's all it's about. Call, alignment, assignment, belief, execution. Our fans handle the rest.
For you, how tough is it going to be? Tough? Describe your emotion this year. Standing here, I've known you well enough over those 10 years that you might inch a little bit out of the coach's box every so often during Labor Day. Going to be able to contain yourself just a little bit?
Absolutely. I'm corporate hove now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you have an assistant. You've got a suit. Of course you do.
I mean, my guy actually bought me this suit for today. You know, I heard I was going on TSS. But it's shorts, you know, you control your emotions. At the end of the game's not about you right now. It's about the players on the field. And, you know, I'm not playing. So I hate talking to players that are playing because I can't do nothing to them and they can't do nothing to me. So you just let the players play football.
The Argos are, I won't say missing your leadership, but the leadership is different. Well, might you whisper a few encouraging words to them if they need it, knowing that you still got a little double blue in you?
I'm still neutral. My wife just gave me this to wear today, so that's why I put it on. But I'm neutral. I'm Team TSN right now. I'm
corporate guy.
I'm gonna enjoy the game, and I got friends on the, in the Tidecast. I got friends in Toronto. I talk to whoever kind of reaches out and wants to have a conversation. But I'm here to enjoy the game. The atmosphere here is amazing. But I will never say Oski Wee Wee and whatever they say after that.
Hey,
what a day.
I know
Kate.
who will say Oski Wee Wee. Oski Wee Wee. Let's go Hamilton.
What a day, Kate. Bunch of brilliant men. Such a lucky thing to be on this field today.
All right, so unfortunately for Simone, we weren't able to rack back that 2021 coverage, and I think the three of them, they'd take up the whole pregame show if they possibly could. There's no doubt. So coming into the week, Toronto and Hamilton tied for second in the league with 23 sacks. Saskatchewan currently leading the way. And speaking of sacks, former Argonaut Brandon Barlow tied for second on the Tiger Cats with 3 sacks so far this season, looking to make an impact against his former club now in the Labor Day Classic on the other side. It is the 63rd edition of the final game of Labor Day weekend. Don't make it end. You can see the Edmonton Elks taking on the Calgary Stampeders from McMahon Stadium today. 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific kickoff going just after 6 Eastern. Now, it's a tough go for these Tiger Cat fans, but you know what? Nothing gets them up like the Argonauts in town and hoping they can break that 4-game slide today. And the party has officially started right beside us. If anyone can possibly hear it at this point, it is going to be a pregame, it's going to be a halftime show, and a postgame. So I hope all of you guys like music. Ches, what is the biggest impact for you in this game today?
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. And talking to folks before the game, just emphasized even more what I heard this week. And that was Jamal Peters, cornerback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He said that Demonte Coxey is the best receiver in the CFL. Well, those two will be going at it head-to-head in the boundary. I talked to a coach of the Argos before the game. He used to have Jamal Peters, and he told me that Coxey is extremely physical, maybe as physical as a wide receiver that you'll find. He said Jamal Peters wants to bring that battle to him. He wants to scrap. So we'll see those two guys, very talented, very physical, and they'll be going man-to-man in that boundary all night long.
My eyes will be focused on Bo Levi Mitchell and how he handles the game today. Not it's not from being able to throw the football down the field, but how to distribute the football and how Scott Milanovic calls this game. Because I think it'll behoove not only Bo, but the entire offense and this team if they get Greg Ball constantly and consistently. Much like we saw this past week in Victoria with William Stanback getting 26 touches, and 9 of those were through the air as well. So I think the more ways you can devise and get the football in Greg Bell's hands, the more responsibility it takes off of Bo Levi Mitchell from having to be the guy. Not that he can't be the guy, but it's typically in games like this, a big game like this, you haven't played in a while, started one since 2019, that you want to take it upon your shoulders to do too much. Spread the ball out, milk a little bit, give it to Greg Bell, not only on the ground, but through the air. I think that'll help them extremely well.
Right. I like where you went with Coxie. I think he's going to have a big game. He was the first receiver for the Argos this year to have 100 yards last week. Big reason because Chad Kelly was back. But Chad Kelly's main guy is DeVaris Daniels. That is his guy. DeVaris Daniels, his route running is second to none. He averaged over 19 yards a catch last year, and DeVaris Daniels is like a 4.6, 4.7 guy. He's not quite as fast as me, 5'3".
I was going to say.
No, he's not there. He's not there yet. But he is their guy. He's their main guy. On the other side for Hamilton, Tim White. Tim White is going to have a big game. He shows up in big games. We know how athletic he is. We know once they put the ball in his hand, not only catching the ball, but on those sweeps, those reverses, what he can do. So those two guys are who I'm really looking at to have big games.
And that is exactly why I picked Tim White as my anytime touchdown scorer. All right, let's go back to the field and join Matthew Shinetti, who's standing by with Kadeem Carey.
Well, Kadeem, welcome to the east side of Labor Day. I know you know it from Calgary and Edmonton and McMahon. You also know someone on the other side. Have you messaged Bo Levi Mitchell at all this week?
No, we're going to keep it nice and quiet till after the game.
Emotionally, it's a little different for both teams. You guys have an opportunity to push higher into the standings. They're looking for any kind of momentum. What has this week been like? Have you been focusing at all the history of Labor Day, or just focusing on what you guys can control?
I mean, both, really. I mean, the Labor Day Classic is a classic, so come out here with your best. And I mean, this is a big game for us. This is a game for us to get some momentum, get higher in the seeds and, show everybody where we are and who we are this game.
Everyone's going to be watching at the goal line. What kind of work and attention to detail went into this week, knowing that you can't leave points on the field?
Oh, man, detail. That's all I can say. We're going to focus on detail down there, and we're going to get in that end zone. We're going to put 6 on the board, another 6, another 6, another 6, and we're going to have fun tonight.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, this Labor Day Classic game marks 10 years at Tim Hortons Field, and these Tiger Cat fans, they've been through good times, bad times. They've been showing up, making opposing teams' lives miserable. Kickoff from the Hammer is next. 53rd edition of the Labor Day Classic between the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts from Hamilton, Ontario. It is a sold-out crowd today at Tim Hortons Field, in history on Hamilton's side in this game as they have gotten the better of their arch rivals over the years. But Toronto hoping to spoil the party in the Hammer on Labor Day Monday before the Canadian national anthem. The Tiger Cats recognizing some of Canada's finest athletes.
This summer, we watched with pride as Canadian athletes showcased their talents on the world stage in Paris. Today, we are honored to have several outstanding athletes from Ontario who represented Canada. Claire Scheffel, Canadian synchronized swimmer. Javier Acevedo, Canadian swimmer. Lucia Stafford, Canadian 1,500-meter runner. James Hedgecock, Canadian cyclist. Adam Dong, Canadian badminton player. And Sophie Bukovic, Canadian beach volleyball player. Hamilton, please give a big round of applause for all the athletes who competed in the Paris Olympics. As an organization and a community, we couldn't be more proud of all the Canadians who represented us. Please stand if you are able for this evening's honor guard from Hamilton Fire. Please welcome Pam Thompson and Jeff Patterson. Ladies and gentlemen, remove your hats for the singing of our national anthem, performed by Hamilton's own Philharmonic Orchestra.
It's the Labor Day Classic game from Tim Hortons Field, and a sold-out crowd ready for these rivals to do battle once again. Kickoff coming up next.
Thank you, Kate. Welcome to Labor Day in the Hammer. A decade in. Who knew? The Donut Box, it still knows how to throw a party, but at 2-9, the Ticats won't be offering any gestures of friendship to their double blue rivals. As we welcome you inside the booth, Marshall Ferguson alongside Wayne Ford. Matthew Shinetti, of course, at field level for us here throughout the afternoon. If there's one guy that would love to get a victory, maybe more than anybody else in this entire place, 5 years since Bo Levi Mitchell, Dwayne, has been on the field in a Labor Day Classic.
Yeah, and certainly we'll talk more about it as this game unfolds. But as you said, it's been a while, but Bo has historically been successful on Labor Day and looking for a kickstart to this Ticat season, certainly his season in particular in terms of getting them back in that win column. Now, as for Chad Kelly, you heard the panel talk about it earlier. For him, it's just about finding his rhythm a little bit and navigating the unfriendly confines of Tim Hortons Field and these Hamilton Tiger Cats faithful.
Ryan Dinwiddie, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, tries to fire up his squad. He's had a lot of success, whether it be win-loss or not. in this matchup, and of course in his time with the Calgary Stampeders as well. And Scott Milanovic on the other sideline here, he said it was 300 degrees in the first Labor Day game at Tim Hortons Field. 10 years later, here we are with, by the way, Bakari Grant, the alumni of distinction here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats today, who scored the first touchdown back at this place a decade ago. So maybe some good vibes for the Tiger Cats as they take on the Argonauts, as it was Toronto going with heads on the coin toss. Hamilton won as it came up tails. Hamilton defers, and Toronto will receive the football, heading right toward the Stitley bar here, but not until Mark Leggio has to reset it on top of the tee. You ready for this one, partner?
Ready to roll. It's Labor Day.
Great environment. It's been a huge build-up for the last couple of hours, as we've seen throughout this weekend, with an exceptional event out there in Victoria with Touchdown Pacific. Of course, Calgary Edmonton coming up. An amazing game last night between the Bombers and the Riders. Expect nothing less. And now it's the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts' turn to show down Labor Day style in Hamilton. As the opening kickoff is returned, Janarian Grant across the 30, fired up and already out to the 35 as he looks dangerous as ever. As out comes Chad Kelly onto the field for the first time.
Yeah, second start of the season for Chad Kelly after serving that 9-game suspension to start the season. Mixed reviews on his opening start. You see the numbers, over 300 yards in that ball game, but Kelly finds himself still looking for his first touchdown pass of 2024.
Interesting that he was 4 of 11, but the fact he had 11 deep shots in that game in his first start, he was out here early ripping it down the field. He will never be shy to take some home run chances down the field as Toronto begins from their own 35-yard line with an extra offensive lineman in the ball game. No go. Fake run and over the top. Immediately Mackay Polk is the intended receiver as the starting offense for the Argos goes 0 for 1 to open things up here.
Yeah, I love the play design. We'll get back to that later. Chad Kelly mentioning he's also getting used to a new center, as Peter Nicastro was injured a lot last year, but the University of Calgary product, a fixture in that spot this season. And we just saw the targeted receiver, Mackay Polk. He was kind of a bubble guy at the start of the year, relied on injuries to get on the roster. He's made himself indispensable, the Argos' second leading receiver at this point.
A little miscommunication. Expect that with Kelly getting up to speed, coming off that 9-game suspension. And now he's got 2nd and 10. 4-man rush from the Tiger Cats. Kelly tries to fit it into a tight window, and it's intercepted. And immediately the challenge flag comes out because there was no penalty flag. And Ryan Dinwiddie didn't even hesitate, saw it with his own eyes, and he'll look for defensive pass interference against Richard Leonard to negate the interception.
Yeah, there is definitely a bump. Bumped the receiver off the spot.
Dinwiddie already fired up on this one, 2 plays into the ball game for his offense.
You see it, it's almost as if the receiver is posted up in front of him. There you saw the push. Moving Tavares Daniels out of the way so he could go get that ball himself.
Toronto is challenging that there should have been defensive pass interference on the play. The play will be reviewed.
Richard Leonard, by the way, celebrating his 33rd birthday today, but I don't think he's going to get the gift here.
Not yet, but Hamilton's defense has had success against Chad Kelly in their limited opportunities against him in terms of trying to force turnover-worthy plays. Kelly offers him up more to the black and gold than he does any of the other 7 teams that he plays against in the CFL.
Take another peek here. And look.
It's a bump, but the question is it enough, or would he have been able to get the interception regardless, right?
I mean, you have to call what the contact was, and I will say from that angle, Leonard doesn't appear to extend his arms.
Was it enough to go through the body? We find out as our referee Ben Major has the call from command.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. It is an interception. Toronto loses their challenge and a team timeout.
Now, we're going to take one more look at this, and the thing I'm going to say is focus on Leonard, not on what happens to Daniels. right? So ignore the fact that Daniels falls down and look at what Leonard actually did. And I will admit, my initial reaction was seeing Davaris Daniels kind of fall out of the way and Richard Leonard take his spot, but I don't think there was actually a shove there.
Well, Chad Kelly didn't do himself any favors leaving that ball inside as well, which made it one of the easier interceptions that Richard Leonard has had in his CFL career. So now Bo Levi Mitchell out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he'll look to Shamar Bridges, the leading target getter in the Canadian Football League. 92 coming in, now 93 is Bo Levi Mitchell. 5 years, as we said off the top. Hard to imagine since he's been in a Labor Day Classic.
And a big one for the Hamilton Ticats, obviously. I think beyond critical point in their season, quite frankly, if they want to get back in this playoff race. I think everybody at this point who's been following the Canadian Football League knows the story. Good numbers, individual numbers for Bo, but they're not winning games, and the feeling is there have been too many turnovers.
Feel the tension right now as these quarterbacks loaded up over the top, looking for the home run. Tim White, touchdown Tiger Cats. The quarterbacks begin 0 for 3, and then Tim White right down the seam, just like he's done in Labor Days years gone by.
Bo has not lost the ability to throw the home run ball, that's for sure. Terrific shot, watch right down the middle of the field on this one for Tim White, heading for the post. He's in behind coverage. Perfectly placed pass. Tim White has touchdown number 5 on the season.
Tim White, season high 134 yards last week against Winnipeg, rounding into form and tagging a Labor Day touchdown on as well. A little skinny post in between coverage. Tim White using the wheels that have allowed him to be an all-star in the Canadian Football League the last couple of years. Sweeter than honey to kick things off for Bo Levi Mitchell in his return to Labor Day.
Tim White, the man of the moment, coming up with that big touchdown. You're going to see him head for the post, and the DBs are just slow to react to this one. Halfback is playing outside leverage. The safety gets hung up on one of the crossing routes before he comes off. That allows Tim White, one of the quickest guys on the field, to get in behind coverage. Bo Levi Mitchell always looking for the home run ball. Spots him and drops it in there beautifully.
And White now tied for the Hamilton team lead with 5 touchdowns on the season. As the overhand catch on the kickoff, always an adventure. And Deonta McMahon trying to make as many people miss as he can, but a massive collision on specials as we see Chad Kelly come out. And here's the rest of that Argonauts double blue starting offense.
Defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, a number of former Argonauts now in black and gold, looking for big things from Dwayne Hendricks. He's had a quiet first half to this 2024 season after a 6-sack season last year. Watch for the rookie Ryan Baker as part of this linebacker rotation under Chris Jones. 8 tackles for Baker last week in Winnipeg, and we mentioned Richard Leonard already with an interception to celebrate his birthday.
Chad Kelly, after throwing the opening drive interception, they get him an easy completion here on a little tunnel screen. The defense rallies their way towards, looks like that is Davaris Daniels getting the target from Kelly, who's still trying to find the rhythm here, Dwayne.
Yeah, and certainly wasn't easing into it on that opening series, looking vertical a couple of times. And obviously we know, I mean, this is part of what Chad Kelly brings to the table. An element that we didn't see a lot in the first 9 games of the Toronto Argonauts season, was whether it was an ability or desire to push the ball down the field, but they become more aggressive with Kelly under center.
Highest rated quarterback off play action in the CFL last season as he goes with a fake in the running game here and then slings it out to Deonta McMahon, who's just on the kickoff return. There's a flag down as well. It looks like it's going against the Tiger Cats as McMahon's slow to his feet. One of 3 running backs dressed here for Toronto this afternoon.
McMahon's going to wait on the field for assistance here. Basically, you could see McMahon was going to come off, and I think his teammates are telling him go down, which basically gives coaches on the bench a chance to make substitutions on special teams, etc., check their depth charts and know all the places, all the adjustments they may have to make.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Hamilton, number 22. The penalty is declined because the gain was greater. It's going to be first down for Toronto.
It goes against Will Sunderland, but they won't carry the yardage as we take a look at Chad Kelly and his performance last week in his return to the Canadian Football League after that 9-game suspension.
Not necessarily eye-popping numbers, maybe even could argue a little bit misleading with that 300-yard game, and one that had its ups and downs, an uneven performance, but certainly some big plays for Kelly, and we know from last year the chemistry between he and DeMonte Coxie.
See the two quarterbacks in today's game, but certainly Bo Levi Mitchell up there with some of the all-time legends like Jackie Parker after 18 career starts, essentially a full season spread out over a couple of years here for Chad Kelly. He stands in the huddle that features a variety of different big bodies. Looks like going with Ryan Hunter as the former goaltender. We spoke to him earlier this season. Going to get used as a bit of a swingman on the offensive line, moving around from place to place. We'll see where they line him up here. Kelly hands it off inside and right in the hole. That's Kadeem Carey getting stacked up for a minimal gain on first down.
Nick Usher starting to find his way right side of your screen from his defensive end position. Gets moved inside. Playing as a linebacker on that one, coming up big.
And Chris Jones mixing and matching approaches. Stepping in as the defensive coordinator here. He'll go with a three-man rush on Kelly this time as Kelly looks down the field, rips this one incomplete. Coverage on the play, Jamal Peters right there, the former Argonaut, big splashy signing in free agency by the Black and Gold.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing Peters against his old team. I know certainly it felt earlier in the season, the first matchup between these two, like he had something to prove.
That first matchup back in week 7, 27-24, Hamilton won, and Jamal Peters was very clearly excited to be playing against his old team. You always say that, players always say it. You could see it on Jamal Peters that evening right here in Hamilton as the Ticats look to close out the season series with a win, and Haggerty, who's been crushing the football all year, almost has that one blocked. It rolls down, and Carthel Flowers Lloyd decides he's going to jump on it right there as Bo Levi Mitchell back in the saddle here. No longer in Calgary, but back on Labor Day. 13-2 career against the Toronto Argonauts. A little over 3,000 pass yards. Leads the CFL here in week 13. There's Bo Levi Mitchell. Lost against the Bombers last week after a game-winning touchdown for the Winnipeg team with 19 seconds left in the ball game, but Bo trying to fire things up back into the lineup. Only 50% completion and the season low for net yardage offensively for the Tiger Cats.
Well, if you're looking for positives, the big positive was that Tim White supplied 165 yards of offense on 8 touches. They just couldn't get anyone else going last week. Tim White and Bo Levi Mitchell at least picking up where they left off a week ago. They just need the rest of the crew to get on page.
Hard count here. Coulter Woodmansey decided to jump out of his stance and try and force the officials to call penalty against the Argonauts defensive line.
Offside, Toronto, number 99. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Ralph Hawley jumping inside the 1-yard buffer there. They shift the defensive line, and then Hawley trying to work his way around, jumps. I think Bo thought that one was going to go against Woodmansey for doing it too slow, but they do pick up a couple of yards. So 1st and 5, playbook wide open here for the Tiger Cats. Mitchell steps up in the pocket. Now looks to use the legs a little bit. Bo going for a jog, doesn't do much of this, and then takes a seat at the 43-yard line as the Hamilton Tiger Cats starting offense led by that man, the scrambling Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, nice decision there from Bo to pick up a first down. Another adjustment to the offensive line. The revolving offensive tackle door. Jordan Murray is back in at right tackle, 6'9" veteran. We mentioned Tim White, those 165 yards from scrimmage a week ago. They look to try and get him on track.
Make an inside run now, pitch it on the reverse. Brendan O'Leary, orange. It's a carry here early on as we take a look at the Argonauts starting defense trying to shut down Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, defensively for this team, of course, Jake Serezna has been a great acquisition for them on the inside, one of the best interior pass rushers in the league. Fraser Sopik signed from Hamilton as a free agent, second on the Toronto Argonauts in defensive plays this season. Deshaun Amos has demonstrated a real nose for the football this season. 4 picks and a couple of fumble recoveries to his name so far.
Sopik winning a Vanier Cup right here at Tim Hortons Field in his college career as Mitchell looks underneath. Stephen Dunbar Jr. gets away from one man, now rolls his way towards the left sideline. Wrapped up, but not until another. Hamilton Tiger Cats first down, converting on 2nd and 9.
Nice effort after the catch. You're going to see Dunbar coming from the outside far right. And this, so working into the boundary, crossing route underneath. Picks up a nice block there from Shamar Bridges to help him pick up the first down.
Mitchell stares down the Toronto defense here as they'll look to screen it out. Greg Bell gets a touch inside the 20, on his feet, inside the 5. Thought he was going to stay vertical and go for 6 immediately, but Greg Bell getting involved in the passing game, something we've seen so much from James Butler throughout this year in Hamilton's backfield.
Yeah, you're going to see Bell start from the backfield here, but watch the work of the right side of the offensive line getting out in front. Jordan Murray has the kick out. He along with the center, David Beard, creating a lane for Greg Bell to set up the Tiger Cats on the doorstep.
And we have Talia Tagovailoa into the game right now at quarterback. Well, Mitchell to the sideline. Tagovailoa listed as the 3rd stringer. Takes the inside run and goes for a walk to the end zone. Touchdown Tiger Cats as they extend the Labor Day advantage. And it's Tagovailoa to the end zone.
And how's that for your first touch in the Canadian Football League? Former University of Maryland star. Pretty much walked that one in. Little change. We've seen Ante Litre so often as the short yardage quarterback for Hamilton this season. They fake to him in the backfield. Tagovailoa strolls in around the corner.
6 plays, 62 yards in under 3 minutes for a Hamilton offense looking to find their way and get some victory as well. Trying to take the season series here today, having themselves a 14-0 advantage with 7:14 remaining in the first quarter. Tagovailoa to the end zone here in Hamilton. Scott Milanovic, head coach of the Tiger Cats, 1-3 in Labor Day Classics, but dialed up a precisely scripted drive right here, Dwayne, that led to another major and a 14-0 lead.
Yeah, well scripted and well executed by the guys on the field. Bo Levi Mitchell picking and choosing his spots and distributing that football. We talked about the screen to Greg Bell. And a short yardage play that got the Argos to bite hard. Ticats out to a 2-touchdown lead here.
How about Bo Levi Mitchell running down to go celebrate with Talia Tagovailoa in his first CFL major. The Argonauts get possession back inside their own 5-yard line. They won't get out beyond the 20. Tough field position to begin. Lots of work to do for Chad Kelly and the Argos offense.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see an Argos offense that sort of came out of the gate looking for the big play. Tons of time left in this football game. 52 minutes still to go. but you wonder if there will be a little bit of impatience for the Argos offense as a whole, but for Chad Kelly in particular, who may feel like he needs to prove a little something in this one.
Well, it's interesting because Kelly's trying not to force, but he's trying to do as much as he possibly can. He's trying to get back into the rhythm. He's trying to reacquaint himself with some new teammates, some old teammates. A lot of variables at play as he'll hand it off here on 1st and 10. And the Tiger Cats run defense right there once again.
Stacking it up there, as you see there. Call him the senior defensive assistant. He's the defensive coordinator, Chris Jones.
Yeah, what a title for a guy that's won Grey Cups and been a head coach and a defensive coordinator, and it's whatever you want to call him. He's the one calling the shots right now on this defense that is shutting down Chad Kelly in his return to Tim Hortons Field thus far. Kelly, he dropped lots of time, now wants to use the wheels. Goes across the 30, big collision as sliding in Stavros Katsantonis right at the end of the play. And that'll be Kyle Wilson slow up onto his feet.
Chad Kelly slides underneath this one. Ends up being Katsantonis coming downhill, hitting Kyle Wilson right in the face.
Brandon Barlow, former Argonaut, battling there with the left tackle Isaiah Cage, and Katsantonis got all of Kyle Wilson at the end of that play. A stretch run this time for the Argonauts, cutting it back as Kadeem Carey, bouncing off tacklers, refuses to go down, and out to the 52-yard line as Kadeem Carey on pace for his best season ever in the Canadian Football League right now, aiming a little over 1,100 yards.
And this run looked good from the start, as you mentioned, Mark. The stretch, getting that defense running towards the sideline, opens up that hole for Kadeem Carey. He darts it north-south, breaks a couple of tackles to move the sticks.
Kyle Wilson being removed from the game right now by the injury spotter. As they've got some substitutions with Ray Wilborn, who was a late addition to the roster for this football game, checking in. He officially is the starter at that weak side linebacker spot. Steps onto the field, communicates with middle linebacker Ryan Baker, and Chad Kelly wants to go quick with a different body in the lineup. Finds the soft spot that time, hooks it up, and it's a first down for Toronto.
Kyle Wilson took over this season from Simone Lawrence at that weak side linebacker spot. Done a tremendous job leading tackler for this team. Hopefully he's all right.
Argonauts going quickly, now trying to take another home run shot. Incomplete over the top of Davaris Daniels. And it falls mercifully for number 12 to the ground, as you can see the clear and obvious frustration on Kelly not being able to connect down the field with Jonathan Moxey right there in coverage.
Moxey had been starting in recent weeks as the nickel linebacker. He's moved to the back end right now. We expect to see a lot of different permutations and combinations from the Tiger Cats in terms of their defensive personnel.
Expect nothing less with Chris Jones at the helm, as this time Daniel Adebaboye gets the carry. Mixing and matching from Kadeem Carey. Deonta McMahon banged up earlier on in this first quarter, as they'll get close and send in the heavies here on 3rd and 2. Actually, Liram Hajrullahu coming off the sideline there. The field goal unit is out. The former Tiger Cats kicker here in double blue once again with the walk-off rouge, the much discussed walk-off missed field goal rouge.
All I heard is walk-off.
They won the game. That's all that matters for Ryan Dinwiddie and his club. He'd love to knock this one down. From deep, it's good. Liram Hajrullahu, one of the best in the CFL in his career, on a perfect day for a Labor Day Classic here in Hamilton. Well, no shortage of incredible visuals we can bring you from this rivalry throughout the years. A couple future Hall of Famers there. Damon Allen, Danny Mack going at it at Ivor Wynne Stadium as the quarterbacks in this football game, hoping that they might be able to rack up major totals and numbers just like these guys did for so many years, back and forth, and the big pick six from the big man into the end zone. Let's go down to Matthew Shinetti for the first time here this afternoon.
Today, Marshall, is Chad Kelly against Bo Levi Mitchell. And after everything that Bo Levi Mitchell's had to deal with all of the attention and scrutiny on his play and his stats, he spoke to me this week, and he was quite happy. Listen, maybe it's unfair that quarterbacks are measured against other quarterbacks in games. They never play against each other. But Bo Levi Mitchell said he's excited this week because he gets a chance to match wits with Chad Kelly. He remembers those times against Mike Riley. And though Bo Levi Mitchell is 6-0 in Labor Days, he said having to go against Mike Riley meant he always had to up his game. It's the reason why this week in his notebook he wrote, "I'm not going to let this moment of adversity define myself as a person or my career in general, but how I react to this moment. Forget the playoffs. Today is Labor Day. Just win."
And right on cue, Tim White will walk it in. Bo Levi on fire.
He really does love Labor Day.
6-0 in his career on Labor Day. Hasn't played in the game for 5 years, and in the first quarter, it is shot after shot after shot down the field for Bo Levi. This one goes to Tim White.
Well, can we talk about not just some of these throws from Bo Levi Mitchell, who's channeling his MOP days in Calgary, but how about the last 5 quarters from Tim White?
Early in the season, there's so much confusion about why can't Bo Levi get on the same page as Tim White? Why can't they hit these home runs and all the rest? Well, whether it's the offense coming together, the scripting working, understanding what they're getting defensively, whatever it is, 19-12 is worth 6 every time right now in this first quarter on Labor Day.
Well, terrific start here. Tim White, as usual, working out of the slot. You're going to see this start off as an out and then an up. Almost like a deep wheel route, basically, and he just gets the halfback Amos starting to chase towards the sidelines when he turns it vertical. The defender is unable to adjust. Bo Levi Mitchell recognizes it immediately, and again, on the money on the deep ball for another home run.
You're not wrong saying turning the clock back on that arm. The shot we have in behind Bo Levi throwing that one, staring it down, hitting the back of his drop, and as confident as ever as Tim White, little flick over the shoulder, and Mitchell goes back to a celebration we saw so many times in Calgary red and white on Labor Day.
Tremendous start for Bo Levi Mitchell, Tim White, and the rest of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You know, part of the formula that has been talked about for this team, obviously concerned about turnovers on offense because they weren't creating turnovers on defense. Well, last week they created them on D and weren't able to capitalize. Here, a different story.
Darian Grant, 4 return touchdowns on the season. Gets himself into the mix on that kickoff return as Tim White. Glow of celebration as these two great rivals go head-to-head once again. The 53rd time with Hamilton holding a substantial advantage. And by the way, from the top of Tim Hortons Field, it's so clear and beautiful in Hamilton today. I can actually see BMO Field. I can see the road team stadium.
Very fitting.
From the top of Tim Hortons Field today. How about that? Chad Kelly down by 18 here early on. Flips this one over the top as DeMonte Coxie now goes across the 55 before he's brought down. That'll go for about 20 yards. Kelly, little flick of the wrist in behind the defense.
Yeah, it was sort of like windows sliding in opposite directions here, as you're going to see Kelly go to his left as Coxie from the left side of the field is working towards the middle. Just gets into that hole in behind the linebackers. Nice touch on that ball.
Stavros Katsikonis on that play. He's at free safety right now. And they'll open things up. It's Kevin Mittal, first-round draft pick out of Laval. Making the grab, settling down in between the zones. And a good chunk for the rookie.
Yeah, Mittal opened the season on the injured list, but I think it's not just folks in Argo land, but many of us, particularly we fellow draft junkies around the CFL, excited to see what this young man can do. former Heck Crichton Trophy winner during his time at Laval. Started his career at Syracuse. Syracuse recruited very well up in Canada. When you look at some of the Canadian players that they got down there, Vital, Jeffrey Canton-Arcou included in that, Ben LaBrosse.
Now Vital right down the seam. He'll hold on to it. Katsantonis couldn't get there in time. And for this young man to step up in this moment, all that much more important, because Tommy Neild and Dejean Brissett both on the 6-game injured list right now, talented Canadian receivers themselves.
You see Vital bottom of your screen coming in motion here before he hits this one down the seam. Yeah, big rivalry, Laval, Montreal. No big deal.
Kelly with a hard count here. Tries to get a look at the Tiger Cats defense. Now looks out to the left-hand side. Coxie makes the grab. And Nick Usher playing a lot of linebacker, a lot of standing up for Nick Usher here today against the Argonauts defense. He flies out from that stand-up position and finishes off the tackle.
A good response on this drive so far from the Toronto Argonauts.
Extra linebackers coming into the ballgame. Dwayne Hendricks, former Argo himself, off to the sideline. They'll send in Ray Wilborn and Carthel Flowers Lloyd, the special teams dynamo. As the last play, barring penalty of the first quarter, has Chad Kelly on a quarterback draw and slides right into the back of his offensive lineman. There was no fumble, but that was Sanchez-esque.
I was just thinking, at least it wasn't Mark Sanchez.
So Kelly with a bit of a humbling first quarter here at Tim Hortons Field. It ends that way, a little sour. Hamilton couldn't be sweeter. 21-3 as the party is on, but the Argonauts threatening as we get set to continue. Quarter number 2 of the Labor Day Classic coming up next. The numbers after 1 quarter of play here in the 53rd Labor Day Classic. The passing yards for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the real story so far in this one. 166, and Tim White with a pair of touchdowns. 127 yards already for Tim White.
Yeah, approaching 300 yards in his last 5 quarters. They do need to get the rest of the offense going, but no, fact is, they've looked pretty good today. Greg Bell chipping in, had a big play on the screen. Stephen Dunbar as well. So building from where they left off last week, it would seem, in Winnipeg.
Chad Kelly on that last play before we went to quarter time. Couldn't figure out which way he wanted to go around Peter Nicastro and lost his edge, slid in, but the offense, it stays on the field here to begin quarter number 2. Ryan Dinwiddie knows he's got to get into the end zone. Score zone reps for Chad Kelly in real time on Labor Day. 3rd and 6. Are they just going to freeze it? And the Tiger Cats defense will get the Labor Day crowd going as Kelly walks all the way back to the bench.
Time count violation. Toronto, number 12. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
The Argos with nothing to lose, obviously.
Never a bad idea, but you got to say, in a rivalry environment like this, standing there and having to walk back to the bench while the crowd screams at you, not a great feeling for the Argonauts offense. Is there Myrolahu, 101 already. Tried to knock this one down from 23 yards away. And smooth as ever. As Tim Hortons Field 10 years ago, of course, this place hosted the first Labor Day Classic on this location at this specific stadium. Of course, so many memories from Ivor Wynn, as we showed you earlier, but what are your memories of this one, Dwayne?
I think I lost about 30 pounds that day, because you may recall, Marshall, the broadcast booth wasn't ready yet, and we were working from under a kind of a makeshift tarp, basically under the stands. I think it was, temperature was measured at about 1,000 degrees.
Just taking you back to your OUA days, calling games on underneath tarps, hanging out. Yeah, it was Chris Berman was in attendance that day with the late John Saunders as well. There's tons of great memories here at Tim Hortons Field, and the Tiger Cats trying to create some new ones as Greg Bell gets a touch that time on a little underneath flip. Go for a gain of a couple as John Jones makes the play.
Yeah, Jones continuing to start at middle linebacker for the Argonauts in the absence of the injured Winton McManus. Saw Winton here before the game working out, inching closer to his return, but very fortunate to have the versatility of Jonathan Jones in that linebacking corps.
Very different feeling defense here for Toronto without Winton McManus on the field. He does so much for them, and Jones doing everything he can to try and replace it if that's possible. Bo Levi Mitchell against a four-man rush finds the open Greg Bell, who just tries to win the race to the first down marker, and he will convert.
You heard Matt Dunnigan talk before this game about the importance of getting Greg Bell involved, working from the backfield, just going to shoot out to the flat. Little bit of a rub in front of him that bought him a little extra time. Yeah.
James Butler.
Not a pick, just a rub.
Out with Greg Bell in the lineup here. Butler on the season, 37 catches and 142 yards after contact. Only Walter Fletcher more productive as a running back in the passing game in the CFL this year. Now they'll screen it out to Stephen Dunbar, try to get him going in the screen game. As it'll be a gain of 7 or 8 on the play. We look back at Greg Bell and his action for the Tiger Cats in that backfield on the road in Winnipeg.
Yeah, and they had a little bit of a tough time really getting that run game going. You know, as we mentioned, Tim White had a huge game. The rest of the offense kind of struggled in that one as Bell was held under 3.5 yards a carry on the ground.
Empty it out for Mitchell here. Looks to his right, comes back left, finds the open man. Who else? Tim White with another grab, moves the chains. And Hamilton's offense in total rhythm all of a sudden. You're sitting at 2-9 on the season.
Yeah, it's interesting to see things click for the Tiger Cats the way they have so far in this week's game. I had a chat down on the sidelines before the game with Simone Lawrence, and we talked a little bit about the team, and his feeling was you're going to see their best today, because if they can't bring it on Labor Day, when's it going to happen? And the Cats have delivered so far.
8 straight completions for Bo Levi Mitchell after beginning 0 of 1 at the start of the game. Of course, that second pass attempt was a touchdown to Tim White, and it's been all downhill for the Tiger Cats offense since then. As it looks like Greg Bell is a little slow onto his feet as David Beard and Brandon Revenberg asked him to take a second and check things out.
Good to see him able to not just get off under his own power, but a little bit of a jog. Take a look at the end of this play to see if we can tell just what happened to running back Greg Bell.
A little tweak running into the back of David Beard.
Yeah, David Beard's butt to the side of his head. And rocked him a little bit.
So Greg Bell goes to the sideline. Litre is the listed backup running back, but he's a little bit of everything in this offense. As you see, 34 right there, who will line up alongside Bo Levi Mitchell. 4 receivers for now to the right of Bo. Pressure on. Mitchell gets it away underneath. Complete. Stephen Dunbar Jr. sitting down in between the zones, and another second down conversion for the Tiger Cats.
And Dunbar Jr., you see him switching spots in that alignment motion with Brendan O'Leary Orange. Again, another little rub there as you saw Keandre Smith heading on the out as Dunbar works inside. That delays the defender just enough to buy room for that completion.
Go to the line of scrimmage here. Mitchell operates from the 23-yard line. Takes the run, looks to the isolated route, and it's incomplete. Great coverage that time. Benji Franklin on Shamar Bridges. What a great matchup that was.
A couple of great young guys in the Canadian Football League. You're going to see Bridges push up, break towards the middle. He's trying to get inside position there, but nice job by Benji Franklin coming downhill to get a hand in on that one.
Bridges telling us this week he just loves being in the Canadian Football League. He's so thankful for the journey that he's gone through to get to this point. Taught him a lot of gratitude and could not be happier than to be here in the CFL, having success and leading the league in targets and catches as well. As Mitchell, the deep drop, shuffles around in the pocket, now down goes Bo. And Ralph Hawley into the Tiger Cats backfield, bringing down Hamilton's starting quarterback as these two teams continue to go shot for shot with sacks this season.
Yeah, Hawley working from his defensive tackle position. Showing some quickness, working on the twist there, loop into the inside.
Jake Serezna ever so close as he's been so many times in the Calgary-Edmonton matchup as well. But Ralph Hawley, the one that gets there, maybe makes up for the offside penalty that 99 took in the first quarter of this ball game, as Mark Leggio, after the sack, will try to knock it down from 37 yards away. And with a swirling wind at Tim Hortons Field, as there's been for so many Labor Day Classics, it's good. Hamilton tags on 3 more, 24-6, the Ticats lead. There's DeMonte Coxie. You see a couple of grabs already in this Labor Day Classic, and his work against the Saskatchewan Roughriders last week with Chad Kelly back in the lap. They got on the same page. He's excited to be going head-to-head against an ex-teammate here in Labor Day. Let's go down to Matthew Chinetti with more.
Jamal Peters is excited, and DeMonte Coxie is ready because the Argos might be down 18. But as you saw in that highlight pack, DeMonte Coxie can eat into a league really quickly with the amount of yards he gets on those big catches. We spoke last year, I did in a hit, just about the way that Coxie kind of lulls his defender across from him with the way he relaxes his hands. But at high school in Louisiana, he used to practice trying to catch the football over the crossbar and really has honed his skills over the last few years. And when I asked Jamal Peters this week how much he's looking forward to going up against Coxie, knowing the circus-like catches that he makes in practice, Peters just said of every matchup, that's the one I'm looking forward to. And I asked Coxie this week just about getting ready for a game like this. He goes, I don't care. I don't care who the defender is across from me. I don't care if guys are whacking my arms. Once that ball's in the air, the only thing I have is get to the ball, guys.
Yeah, I would love to see those two go try to high point of football against each other at some point here today. Peters and DeMonte Coxie, as David Unger made the grab on that last play, had a 2021 touchdown for Hamilton in this matchup, drafted by the Tiger Cats. He gets on the stat sheet on a beautiful September Monday afternoon. As the handoff inside goes for a gain of 6 yards. They'll play 2nd and 4.
Yeah, good to see Kyle Wilson back in the Tiger Cat lineup after being removed by the injury spotters after being the victim of some friendly fire from the hard-hitting Stavros Katsantonis.
A lot of movement. You called it early, Dwayne, on the back end of this Hamilton Tiger Cats defense. Moxie, Katsantonis, all playing in different spots, trying to confuse Chad Kelly. As Kelly can't find an open receiver, steps forward in the pocket. Now he'll go right down the middle of the field, and a massive collision on Kelly's right side and right on cue. It looks like that was Jamal Peters dropping the shoulder.
Yeah, Jamal Peters never shy to deliver a little bit of contact. Burning in from his corner position as soon as he saw Kelly taking off with that one.
You can see the eyes light up on Jamal Peters as he recognized sitting in zone, nobody for him to cover. All right, Chad's going to go for a little jaunt. I think I'll go join him.
I think I'll end that jaunt. Nonetheless, a first down for the Argos.
1st and 10. Inside handoff once again, Kadeem Carey. And the Argonauts trying to churn with the running game a little bit here in the second quarter, get back into this football game. But this is the running game that I haven't seen a lot of from Toronto quarterbacks since Chad Kelly was out suspended.
Yeah, just a good decision here from Kelly. Again, we talked about the concern of him maybe feeling impatient, wanting to force some plays. That's frankly a positive sign for him to pull that one down, run with it, just take what you can get, keep the drive alive instead of trying to force a deep ball. off the scramble.
And did ask him this week, okay, you're going up against a Chris Jones defense that will throw chaos at you. You're going up against the Hamilton crowd. How do you handle this? He said, I played in a lot of places. I've been in a lot of football games, a lot of really difficult situations. So he's trying to get himself going as Brandon Calver is down for the Toronto Argonauts, and the Argos training staff will take a look at him. We'll step aside and come back. 24-6 Hamilton leads on Labor Day. For a Hamilton game, you know?
Yeah, we just saw the Keandre Smith University highlight reel on the big screen here.
Celebrating this great football back coast to coast. University action underway in U Sports. A great Labor Day Classic going here in Hamilton as the Argonauts on 2nd and 4 try to go right in between the guards. It feels like they're really starting to lean on Ryan Hunter, Peter Nicastro, and Anthony Vandell, the young right guard.
Vandell, late round draft pick, an 8th rounder in 2023. Came back to the Argos this season, came back to camp, getting an opportunity to start here now.
3rd and 1, Toronto wants to go, and whistles blow this dead as Kelly wanted to go as fast as he possibly could. And Ben Major saying, Chad, we had to spot the football.
Sorry, I've been away. Is that what he's telling him?
Well, you got to whistle it in, reset the play clock. Well, if I'm Kelly, I'm probably excited that that snap never happened, considering where Nick Usher ended up.
The way things unfolded, yeah. Nick Usher beating Kadeem Carey in the backfield.
See what they run here. Go back at it on 3rd and 1, or will they freeze again like they did a drive earlier? Now, flags come up.
Time count violation. Toronto number 12. The 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Liram Hajrullahu comes off the sideline. Ryan Dinwiddie is out at the Tiger Cats 50-yard line, asking to have a discussion with one of the officials, perhaps about timing or reset of the play clock. I don't often see this.
Dinwiddie has wandered down near the Ticat bench.
He's in front of the Tiger Cats bench. That's not on the edges of the box on the same sideline here. He's all the way down at the 40 and now makes his way back. Hajrullahu, 47-23. Now we'll try to tag on another 3 points, but no majors thus far for Chad Kelly and the Toronto Argonauts offense. Hajrullahu, a little bump after he knocks that one through. John Haggerty on the hold, and it's all triples so far for the Argos offense. 24-9. Hamilton continues to lead on Labor Day. Purelator tackle hunger here on Labor Day Classic Monday. One of the great traditions across the Canadian Football League, and another fantastic job by everyone involved to support those in need is the next coming up in Toronto, middle of October. Make sure you check the date if you're going in attendance to BMO Field to see the Argonauts play. Make sure you bring some items and get your shot with, what's that thing? That's the Grey Cup, of course. Purelator tackle hunger. Congratulations to all involved in another massive day for that program here in Hamilton as the sun beats down.
Now, knowing what a great job the Ticat fans have done with Purelator tackle hunger today, you got to think the Argo fans are going to answer the bell. Right? They're not going to let Hamilton beat them.
There's no choice. There's no choice. Now you have to get out there and you have to load up as much as you possibly can for Purelator. As Tim White in his great day, with another number 12 sitting on the other side, shaking his head after the way that last drive ended. 3rd and 1. Thought about going for it. Whistle issues play clock and then walks off, and Liram Hajrullahu puts 3 more points on the board, but got a feeling it's got to be touchdowns if you want to beat Hamilton here today on home turf. As nice cutback that time from Greg Bell, spinning through arm tackles out to the 51-yard line.
A nice execution here by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You're going to get the pulling lineman looking to kick out a Rimolade on the end. Woodmansey gets enough him. Nice reaction by Greg Bell to get that one north-south as soon as he sees that block occur.
Good to see Bell back in the ball game here. James Tuck with a nice kick out block. The fullback on that last play as well, as now Toronto will rush 5. Bo gets it away, looks into coverage, and he dropped it in. Was it complete? No, they'll say it hit the turf. It's incomplete, looking for Tim White, and coverage on the play that time by Mark Milton, his first year with the Argonauts.
Yeah, it looked like Tim White bobbled that one upon contact. Wasn't able to secure it before he was actually out of bounds. There he's got it. There you see Milton. Takes him down. Milton, who started the season as a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
Audibly, you can tell Bo doing a lot of working from the line of scrimmage here today, checking with everybody sideline to sideline as Mitchell looks over the top. Receiver falls down, incomplete. And that time just lost an edge, it looked like, for White. So a couple of rough snaps for a guy who's been great here throughout this game. Is Deshaun Amos the closest man in coverage?
Tim White, the middleman of 3 receivers, going out to that wide side of the field. You saw him just sliding as he tried to make that break to the out.
Amos thinking to himself he maybe should have had a hand on that football. And it'll just go down as an incompletion. And I haven't said this man's name a whole lot today based on how the offense for Hamilton has been flowing. Nick Constantino, Texas A&M, first year, ready to kick it away. Sidewinder with the wind starting to whip at Tim Hortons Field, drops down to Janarian Grant. Flag comes down. Looks like no yards will be called. As Janarian Grant, in the history of the Canadian Football League, how often he's able to make big plays, especially now here in Toronto, the way that this is just taken off.
Hamilton, number 34. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's going to be first down for Toronto.
Pretty impressive company there, obviously, for Janarian Grant. Kick returning royalty. You see
the duct tape,
different tact with the hair after having a couple of the dreads pulled out by tacklers this season.
Fair game. Hair out the back of the helmet. Some teams have taken advantage of it on Janarian, trying to punish a guy who's punished so many teams across the league with great returns this season. Yet to get the wheels turning.
Correcting the spot, should hit the 40-yard line. 40-yard line going out.
As the video official makes the correction, according to referee Ben Major. But once he gets running downhill, especially late in games, right? So many of those returns coming in 3rd and 4th quarters. That he's really been a difference maker for them in this season, in which the Argonauts are sitting here. And yes, they have a above 500 record, but without him, I'm not sure that they'd be able to say that. It's Chad Kelly back in the lineup here in the huddle, holds onto the football once again, now rips it over the middle. Devontae Coxie, and he'll pick up an Argonauts first down after crossing the 100-yard mark. The first Argonaut to do that last week in their game with Saskatchewan.
Yeah, they had been a little more conservative than what we grew to expect from the Argos last year.
Another completion from Chad Kelly now as Toronto gets to the line quickly. Trying to set things up. And it looks like they have called the 3-minute warning on the field. There's tons of emotion at Tim Hortons Field today. These two spirited clubs with their fan bases in attendance just down the road. The quarterbacks dueling, the defenses are balling. And we got a game here. 3-minute warning in the first half, 24-9, the 53rd Labor Day Classic in Hamilton.
It is officially a party in the Hammer today. It's time to get your popcorn ready because this might be the best halftime panel we have ever put together. The physicality of the game. We got Chad's miscues. We got Tim White just lighting it up on Labor Day. How come I didn't get any popcorn? Stiegel eating popcorn. He's slipping. He's slipping, Dwayne and Marshall.
I don't believe you, kid. I can see you guys from here. I don't think Stiegel's actually eating that stuff. He's just using it for target practice.
You know, Milt told me that that long trip home from Victoria, he faked being asleep the whole way home so he didn't have to talk to Chance.
Oh, really?
That's what he said.
Well, they'll talk about that coming up at halftime as Chad Kelly. It's another completion, double and triple caught that time in front of Jamal Peters and Kyle Wilson, but Mackay Polk makes another grab here as Toronto continues to chip away. A couple defensive substitutions for the Tiger Cats, so they'll hold this for a second until they get set. With 2:40 remaining in the first half. Kelly handing it off inside. Ryan Baker. UBC makes the tackle, but not until another Argonauts first down as they head deeper inside the score zone. Spot the ball just beyond the 15-yard line.
It's been interesting the last couple of weeks. Of course, last week in Winnipeg, this week versus Toronto, to see some of the different personnel combinations that Chris Jones has chosen to use on this Hamilton defense. We mentioned Ryan Baker out of UBC, the rookie, getting a lot more snaps.
Kelly leans into this one and threw it about as hard as he could to the outside shoulder of DeMonte Coxie as they continue to get into a rhythm with each other. And Coxie and Peters, Matthew Shinetti spoke about it earlier on in this ball game, right there matched up one-on-one.
A good rivalry there, probably built in practice. We heard the conversation in the Touchdown Pacific game about Dominic Grimes and Gary Peters battling against each other in practice in BC, and now finding themselves on different teams.
Once again, trying to find the soft spot. Touchdown Argos. They finally get into the end zone. Tavares Daniels on the receiving end from Chad Kelly.
And Tavares Daniels, who posted a career high in receiving yards last season. Bit of a slower start to this 2024 season for him, but maybe looking to kick it into gear with the return of his battery mate Chad Kelly.
And a lot of just settling down, spreading things out, getting the ball out of Chad's hand quickly on that drive. They'll go for 2 here. They do trail by 9. An efficient drive, 7 plays, 70 yards in less than 2 minutes. Blink and you missed it. But into the end zone for Tavares Daniels. Now can they tag on to 2? Kelly looks to run, goes right, left, and gets flipped up at the goal line. Jamal Peters, for the second time, takes out the legs of Toronto's starting quarterback, Chad Kelly.
Big hit there, but Chad Kelly looking to shake it off.
The previous scoring play is under automatic review by the command center.
They had to take a look at it. It was close. We'll see exactly where they decided that the football got to. But Kelly paying the price for that one. He's just hoping it was worth 2 points and not 0.
So we'll see where that ball touches down. You know, I don't think the ball ever crosses that front plane of the goal line.
Nope. Jamal Peters goes even slightly slower. He might not have the force to stop Kelly's momentum towards the goal line. As the command center takes a look at it, Al Bradbury, the replay official for this Labor Day Classic in Hamilton. As the Hamilton fans, unsurprisingly, believe it should not be for 2. Here's the call.
Upon automatic review of a scoring play, the previous play is overturned. The convert is unsuccessful.
They were right.
Never bet against those guys.
So Kelly, as I said, pays the price and doesn't turn it in to a single score game the way that he thought he could. As here inside the stadium, they get the replay for all the fans to confirm the call from command. Hamilton gets the football back. They'll return it and sliding down, losing his edge as well, just beyond the 25-yard line. It's 24-15 now after the touchdown from Chad Kelly. Very, very slow start, but really picking things up here in the second quarter.
Yeah, now it's really up to the Hamilton Tiger Cats to respond. They had all of the momentum through the opening 15-20 minutes of this football game. Let it slip away here in the second quarter.
Moxie just couldn't get there in time on Davaris Daniels. So into the end zone Toronto goes, and Hamilton with possession back goes to the big man, Giovanni Robinson, who very quickly can take what should be a 5-yard catch and turn it into a 9-yard grab.
Yeah, lots of talk this season about Hamilton's desire to get tight ends involved. Had a look at a couple Americans at the spot, but it's been Giovanni Robinson who's had the most snaps and has been the most productive from that spot.
As you say that, they take Giovanni Robinson out, but they just substituted in Leah Tagovailoa, who will go out wide. Andy Litre is in, and they've got about 4 fullbacks, offensive linemen, and all the rest in as they plunge forward on 2nd and 1. Giving Bo Levi Mitchell a second to go to the sideline, have a conversation with the coaching staff, and now after picking up the first down, they will leave Tagovailoa on the field with Mitchell on the sidelines. See what they cook up here with the former Maryland quarterback.
That's Maryland's all-time leader in passing yardage.
This is extremely Maryland, spreading things out. 3 offensive linemen. Tagovailoa trying to get a handle on the football, and he does screen it out as Brendan O'Leary Orange makes the grab, but putting the tackles out on the end of the line of scrimmage. Well, something different is there is Leah Tagovailoa in his career. And who's that guy in second?
Yeah, it's surprising he's getting any snaps here at Hamilton, given who he had to pass to become Maryland's all-time passing leader, Scott Milanovich. Hamilton's head coach, of course, one of the all-time Terrapin greats. Scott still holds the single game, top 2 single games passing marks in Maryland history.
Levi Mitchell with plenty of accolades to his career as well, as Hamilton converts on 2nd down, and a little bit of throwback to Scott Milanovich ripping the rock around at Maryland.
Yes, sir, slinging it. You see his career passing numbers. Now Talia, a little more playing time, right? Extra year to play through the pandemic. Beat him by about 4,000 yards on that all-time list.
Levi Mitchell steps up downfield, throws a strike to Tim White. Got 2 touchdowns on the day and another conversion here. When Bo is seeing it clean at Tim Hortons Field, he is finding open receivers with ease. That arm has come alive.
And again, the biggest positive for the Hamilton Tiger Cats is that Bo Levi Mitchell and Tim White seem to finally be in sync, because that's been a struggle for much of this season.
Pressure coming from the Argonauts. Mitchell has to get rid of it. He does. Shamar Bridges gets forward to about the 36-yard line before he's brought down. Big body of Bridges and Tim White, the 2 mainstays in this receiving corps throughout the year.
Yeah, great chat, as you mentioned earlier, with Shamar Bridges earlier this week. You know, we see him as this 6'4" first-year receiver. He was telling us he was 5'7" his sophomore year of high school, so not heavily recruited at all.
Greg Bell running hard all the way down to the 26-yard line. There's another first down conversion for the Tiger Cats, this time using the legs of Greg Bell. And they'll go quickly back to the line of scrimmage here with 22 seconds remaining in this first half.
And I think the variety of tacks that we've seen from the Hamilton offense so far in this ballgame is creating some opportunities for Greg Bell to run the rock now.
Mitchell, as DeAndre Smith motions into the backfield to help pass protect, gets him lots of time, goes underneath. Stephen Dunbar Jr. catches it at the 15, and he'll be brought down just outside of the 10 with 6 seconds remaining in this first half. Enough time to run a snap here offensively or send the kicking unit out?
Do they want to risk it? They're going to make sure that they get a shot at points here.
Mark Leggio does come off the Hamilton sideline.
Yeah, 6 seconds. You don't leave yourself a lot of margin for error if something goes sideways to still get the field goal unit out there. Good decision, particularly given the score.
Constantino, the punter, will be the holder here. Scored White. Long snapper for the Tiger Cats and working on coverage. Sends it back to Constantino before the right foot of Leggio hammers it through. A 27-15 first half advantage for the Hamilton Tiger Cats over the Toronto Argonauts. Bo Levi Mitchell in his first half started on fire after going 0 for 1.
Yeah, Hamilton starting their first possession after a turnover. Bo came out slinging. Hit Tim White for a couple of big touchdowns. You saw him there using his legs to move the sticks. Terrific opening half for Bo Levi Mitchell, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and their quarterback is down below with Matthew Shinetti right now.
Well, we talked about it this week. You said shot for shot, you may not be going up against the opposing quarterback, but you know you got to raise your level on Labor Day. How imperative is it to keep that offense rolling in the second half?
It's huge. I mean, it's our job to get these fans into the game. We got them into it early. We got to keep them in it because they're the best fans in the league, man. When they're going, it makes it really hard on the other offense.
Also, too, when you're going with Tim White, how have you seen that chemistry build this week so that you're maximizing it today?
Yeah, I mean, last week, we built on it over in Winnipeg. This week was a great week of practice. Honestly, didn't find that much this week in practice, but again, when it's game day, man, just find your guys.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, Kate, Argos are only down 12, but offenses are kicking on both sides. The energy is high here at Tim Hortons Field.
Matthew, we would expect absolutely nothing less from Tim Hortons Field today in the classic rivalry between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Toronto Argonauts. And Bo, what a first half for him. 259, a pair of TDs as we welcome you back to the panel alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and Chez, as our friend Jim Barker would like to say, he loves those physical games and calls them slobber knockers. And this one had a ton of physicality in the first half.
This is why football is the greatest team sport in the world, is because if you don't come out with full emotion, you're going to get injured. So you see in a game like this, the emotion that this Hamilton Tiger Cats team came out with, it was evident early. And it's easy for us to say the low-hanging fruit is Chris Jones comes over, and now all of a sudden this defense is playing fast. This defense is playing better. Well, I'm not going to take away from what Chris Jones may have brought, but to me, it's what this crowd has brought and the emotion of how important the Labor Day game is between these two rivals. And that's what this team, both offensively and defensively, is feeding off in the first half.
Hey, you're talking about the Labor Day, the intensity, how you feed off the crowd, where Labor Day Bo seems to be feeding off the crowd. We know coming into this game, he was 6-0 in Labor Days, but those all happened with the Calgary Stampeders. This was his first one as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, and so far it's so good. And this second drive was just beautiful. Everyone contribute. We see Bo looking young, running the ball. And when you can spread things out as far as your offense goes, the defense cannot key on one thing. Everyone getting involved. We see Dunbar Jr. right here with a big catch on second down. Everyone have an opportunity to make plays. Tim White, everyone, Greg Bell contributed on this. And of course, making their first play, first time stepping on the CFL field. Who is it, Kate?
Terrapin great, Talia Tagovailoa.
Yes, going on a quarterback draw, the quarterback sneak. So great drive, great time for these Hamilton Tiger Cats in the first half. But like they always say, there's still a lot of football left. They got to come out in the second half and continue doing it. And if they can, they got a great opportunity to get another victory.
Yeah, big time start for the Ticats. We talked about it at the top of the show with Chad Kelly and how important it was for him to get off to a quick start. And he did exactly the opposite. He fed this football crowd on several occasions, started off with an interception, and it kind of snowballed from there for the young quarterback. And he looked out of sorts. I'm watching his eyes, and on a play, he's throwing the football, has no idea where he's throwing it, but he's already going through the motion. The ball lands aimlessly around nobody. Chad had a time count late. The team tried to draw Hamilton's defense offside a couple of times in the first half, and every time that doesn't work, that gives momentum and it excites this crowd. Chad Kelly settled down there late in the second quarter, which was extremely important for him to work through that and weather the storm. I'm not sure if he's done that, because what I saw from Bo Levi to finish that half was more what we saw for the first 30 minutes in Bo. Bo got the job done, poised. A lot of times with 0 seconds of the clock, he would have forced that football in the end zone trying to get a major. He checked it down. They were able to get 3 on the board. So Taylor, 2 quarterbacks, one that's poised and one that's a little shook right now.
And you know what, that Hamilton D looking a little more comfortable under Chris Jones as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Kate. Chris Jones, you can see what 2 weeks has done for him. He's really settled in, and he's starting to play Chris Jones style of defense. He's making a lot of changes up front. He's doing a lot of different things on the back end, keeping the young quarterback on his heels and allowing his defense to continue to keep this crowd in the ball game.
I asked what the difference, I talked to Stavros Katsatos before the game. I asked him what the difference was with Chris Jones, and what Stavros had talked about about was just playing fast and simplifying things. And he's not calling anything different, nothing that they didn't already know about and already play. It's just a matter of simplifying some things when he felt like there was stuff that they were clear on. And now they're able to play fast and physical. And sometimes it's as easy as that.
And speaking of comfortable, how about Tim White? These last 2 weeks, what he's doing, been pretty special.
And guess who's anytime touchdown scorer?
There you go.
And you need DeVaris Daniels. We just need you two to step it up, but never going to be 4 for 4. Meanwhile, a great start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at the Labor Day Classic, currently up by 12. And the great news is it's just the start of Labor Day Monday. We still have the Elks and the Stampeders coming up. It is a tradition unlike any other. Yes, I said it. It is the 63rd edition of the Labor Day Classic between Edmonton and Calgary. It is the first meeting of this season, the Battle of Alberta. And if you thought the Tiger Cats and the Argos rivalry was great, we know that this is going to be a good one as well. And Milt, I feel like we haven't seen the Calgary Stampeders in forever. We haven't seen them play since August the 15th. They've had 2 straight losses. And for Jake Mayer, I mean, he really needs this victory. I'll say this, though, at least in the West. I mean, it's so compacted at this point that, I mean, this could pick them right up.
Yeah, and when we talk about some other teams, we talk about maybe some quarterback controversy. Talk about BC, they're having a couple of good quarterbacks. Hamilton maybe waiting for Taylor Powell. But in Calgary, there's Jake Mayer, and there's really not much behind him. So this is his team. But the problem, as you mentioned, Kate, he hasn't been consistent. When he's on, but when he's not, he's really not. So I'm sure Dickerson and everyone else in Calgary is just waiting for this guy to get on. Because if he can get on, I think they have enough talent where they can compete. As you mentioned, the West is wide open. They just have to open up that door, kick it in, and take advantage of it.
Yeah, you know, those games are easier said than done to come in there and do all those things that you plan on doing in execution. To travel down there, and look, it hasn't worked out for the Elks very much lately when they go down there and play that Labor Day Classic. But I can say that if Trey Ford is in uniform on the sidelines, if that kid's on the sidelines in uniform, and things aren't going your way, which could easily be the case in today's game, I don't know how long you can wait not to throw him out there because he's so energetic and he ignites that football team. I'm watching to see if MBT can weather the storm, much like we've seen out here with Chad Kelly trying to weather the storm. If he can do that, then I think we'll see him for the rest of the way. But if not, I'm really leaning towards seeing how healthy and how much Trey Ford can add to this football.
Yeah, and you feel like there's going to be a storm that Macbeth will have to weather. And I agree with you because the emotion of this game, I think, walking this weekend, I didn't realize, or maybe I underplayed the emotion of this weekend. Because it's been evident today, and I think it'll be the same in Calgary. You know, being fast and being fresh is paramount in football today. A lot of coaches, that's why there's less time on your legs, less physical during practice week. You got to be fast, you got to be fresh. And like you said, Calgary will be fresh.
I have no idea what any of you said, because if you didn't know, there is a band playing beside us. Dwayne Gretzky, a.k.a. one of the greatest cover bands in Canada, rocking at Tim Hortons, and the Tiger Cats currently up 27-15.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hamilton. Is right now a 27-15 advantage for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on home turf against the rival Argonauts. 265 yards passing. You heard the panel talk about it at halftime, how good Bo Levi Mitchell has been, how well he has seen the entirety of the field. On the other side, well, the Argonauts offense, they're trying to get things going. DeVaris Daniels can certainly help. He's field level with Matthew Shinetti.
DeVaris, threes are nice, but you only win games like this with sixes. How critical was it to get that touchdown late in the half?
I mean, we rolling, man. We rolling right now. We just got to finish. I think that we're doing a good job of getting down there. We just got to put points on the board. I think you'll see a lot of that in the second half.
I saw a lot of confidence at practice this week. When you're down 21-3, what kind of conversations were happening on the sidelines just to keep everyone at a level?
Man, we never out of it, man. We got 12 at quarterback and a lot of playmakers on that field. Our defense is one of the top, and our special teams is very nice, and we're never out of a game, so we got a lot of confidence no matter what the score is.
Thanks, DeVaris.
Thank you.
Never out of it, says DeVaris Daniels, as Toronto have won the last 2 Labor Day Classics, but 3-9 over the last 12 Labor Day Classics. Speaking of 12, big collision at the end of that first half, going for a little run on the 2-point conversion attempt. Came up short. And after a field goal by Hamilton to wind things down with Mark Leggio, 27-15 is your score in the 53rd Labor Day Classic, as the special teams units have been firing themselves up for the last couple of minutes out here on field, getting set for the Argonauts to receive after Hamilton deferred in that first half, winning the coin toss. So Mark Leggio will put it on the tee. Returners sort themselves out. And just like the beginning of this football game, the ball rolls off the tee with the winds continuing to swirl, as you'd expect as we head into the late summer here in the Golden Horseshoe. Leggio puts it back on the tee. 2 quarters in the books. 2 to go from Hamilton. Marion Grant receives this at his own 24-yard line and runs into a black and gold wall. It's put down just shy of the 40-yard line as Chad Kelly comes out to begin his second half. Here's a look back at his first.
Yeah, and again, continued ups and downs for Chad Kelly. Slow start, maybe trying to force a deep ball early on. Gets picked. That led to Hamilton's first touchdown of the ball game, but he did seem to settle in a little bit, at least throwing the football, found some comfort. But you know, I think the biggest message for Chad Kelly at halftime, you heard the panel allude to this a little bit, is just take a breath.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath.
Well, Ryan Dinwiddie decides to script a breath for him here to open up the second half as Kadeem Carey runs right into Stavros Katsantonis coming down from his free safety spot. Kelly turning around and admiring the physicality of this run from Carey.
Yeah, nice downhill run. This is right up Kadeem Carey's alley, so to speak. Straight up the gut, meeting the safety.
Carey, third amongst active running backs in career yardage. Brady Oliveira and William Standback, the 2 ahead of him, as Kelly checks it down underneath. The other back, Deonta McMahon, crosses the 40, cuts back at the 35. And with all 12 defenders trying to track down Deonta McMahon, he isn't wrapped up until he's inside the 30-yard line.
A good poise from Chad Kelly on the scramble here. An awareness of where that line of scrimmage is. Knowing he's still able to throw that football and let Deonta McMahon go to work in a little bit of open space.
1st and 10 from the Hamilton 28 already as they go back to that little inside sit-down route. And it's frustrating the Hamilton defense. I think Toronto's found a little something here after their touchdown drive. They used so much of that, including a touchdown on a play very similar to DeVaris Daniels.
Yeah, a little bit more patience, quite frankly, for the Toronto Argonauts offensively here. You know, Hamilton able to sit back a little bit early as Chad Kelly was trying to push the ball downfield, maybe trying to force some things, but now as they're giving him some underneath stuff, that's what he's taking.
Pressure look from Hamilton. They'll blitz off the edge with Jamal Peters. They pick it up. Kelly pumps, cuts back, looking for the end zone. Chad Kelly, touchdown Argos. And what felt like a chaotic beginning to this game for the Argonauts offense, out of sorts, an interception early on, turns into a succinct, efficient, and accurate touchdown drive for the Double Blue.
Yeah, terrific start to this third quarter for the Toronto Argonauts. There you see 4-man rush, 8 in coverage. Chad Kelly, you know, we mentioned earlier, Nick Usher playing as more of a linebacker a lot in this ball game. This is a guy who's played his whole career as a defensive lineman, maybe not used to coming up to make tackles from that, those in space and from those angles. Got juked in space by Chad Kelly en route to the end zone.
Hiram Haralahu tags on the extra point. Just a few minutes into this second half, already a different mood at Tim Hortons Field thanks to the legs of Chad Kelly. Was heading to Ancaster, decided Stony Creek was the route. Into the end zone for 6. Well, usually we put together these drive highlight packs and it's play after play after. This is 4 plays. This happened fast, you're going.
Yeah, mixing it up, but mixing it up quickly. Kadeem Carey, Deonta McMahon, Chad Kelly finishing it off himself. So the Argos a little closer, within one score here.
Sales trying to peel his way back in. Wasn't able to get there in time as Kelly reached the end zone and tightens down this game. If there's one man they got to get going here for Hamilton offensively once again, it's number 12, Tim White.
Yeah, Tim White has reestablished himself these last couple weeks as the go-to guy. The Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. Big yardage and 2 touchdowns for him in the first quarter of this ball game. Ticats putting up all 3 of those touchdowns with the win.
Well, Levi Mitchell checks it down to open up the second half as Greg Bell makes the grab here. But for Tim White, getting on the same page with Bo Levi Mitchell, as we talked about the first half, has been a struggle. But when it is good, it is great when these two can kind of sort each other out, read the body language, and understand where they're going.
Yeah, things really clicked for them last week. Tim White had his first 30-plus yard reception of the year, longest catch of the year, obviously, for him last week. Over 100 yards receiving for him in that ball game. And now to do that in back-to-back weeks, a big step for the Hamilton offense.
In the right direction for sure, as Bo Levi Mitchell gets popped in behind the play. They go back to White, and that won't work out the way they drew it up on either end, Mitchell or White.
And it'll be interesting to see. You know, we haven't talked a lot about the win in this football game, but it is so often a story here at Tim Hortons Field. The coin toss, often one of the most critical parts of games. Hamilton will have the win in the fourth quarter of this ball game. Toronto has it now and has momentum. You saw them score quickly. Very efficient use of their time with the win. If you're Hamilton, you want to slow things down a little bit. And again, more reason to go high efficiency passing game. Get Greg Bell involved. You don't mind running lots of plays and keeping the clock moving here in the third quarter.
Into that wind, a great kick from Constantino, which Janarian Grant gets at the 20-yard line, and the coverage units right there. Both sides of the border. Great to have everyone watching CBS Sports Network down south, enjoying some Labor Day CFL action. Sales, Ohio University digs in, trying to track down Chad Kelly. First, they'll have to deal with the ground game of Kadeem Carey as he's picking him up and putting him down all the way out to the 39-yard line. And the Argonauts running game that's been dominant at various points throughout the first half of this season really coming to life all of a sudden.
And Kadeem Carey has looked terrific in this ball game, and obviously, along with Kadeem Carey, that offensive line has often been the six-man unit. Tonight, Ryan Hunter, usually the starter at left guard, has been the man on the move, often lining up at tight end.
All over the place today as we see Kadeem Carey with another carry down at field level. Matthew Schnetti has an update on some of the footwork changes going on.
Well, naturally I would, Marshall, given my taste for footwear, but if you're a keen-eyed observer, take a look at Kadeem Carey's shoes. He just had them changed before the last series. He's now wearing what are called destroyers. A little slippage on the field in that first half on both sides, but equipment manager Danny Webb, the longtime equipment manager for the Argos, again, he has a lot of penchant for footwear. He did this in the 2017 Grey Cup to the Argos' advantage. Kadeem Carey looking for a little traction in the second half, guys.
They're running a little differently as well since he made the changes. This pass incomplete. Jonathan Moxey there in coverage, looking for DeVaris Daniels. Those almost look like the old Sharks. They steal that out of your bag,
Well, I'll tell you, the destroyers have been around for a long time. I remember my good friend, our equipment manager in Calgary, George Hopkins, when things got a little slushy. You went on the road, there would be a pair of destroyers packed in every bag.
Secrets of the CFL, generations gone by. No staples in the bottom for now. That's coming up later on this year as the weather turns, but a perfect afternoon for football here. This is a strange one as Bird is going to watch this ball trickle out of bounds inside the 5. And never even saw Jordan Bird trying to get up to speed. We'll give you an update on that when we return. Hamilton continues to lead 27-22. Field position is about as bad as it could possibly be for the Hamilton Tiger Cats here, but maybe this even worse is Jordan Bird never got up to speed, standing back ready to return the punt. took a step to the side, and by the time the ball was anywhere near him, he couldn't catch up to it. Had to be carried off, as you see just a second ago. And obviously that left knee bothering him in a way that was substantial enough that he couldn't get going. So had to take a knee and go down. And one of 5 different Tiger Cats to return punts this season, but only 2 of them have a return of over 30 yards, and one of them is Jordan Bird right there. So Bo Levi Mitchell backed up inside of his 5, all the way at the 1. Turns around. They'll give it to the freight train, Andy Litre. Gets him a little bit of breathing room and more out to the 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what you needed on first down. Low risk play that gets you away from those goalposts, gives you some more offensive options. Get the 2 backs in the backfield. James Tuck in at fullback leading the way. Brente Litre to pull his way for about 9.
How about the 8-year left guard Brandon Revenberg at a Grand Valley State University leading the way around as well here on Labor Day. As now Litre gets another carry, this time straight ahead from under center. There's a short yardage package. Collects another first down for the Tiger Cats.
Brente Litre. His work done for that particular series.
Mark Milton tapped out after trying to get the punch out, and then John Jones came over the top to really drive it home. So 1st and 10, pressure on from the right side of Bo. He gets it out of his hands. That's complete, and DeAndre Smith makes the grab as Hamilton, Scott Milanovich calling the shots here, really trying to extend the field as far horizontal as they possibly can, Dwayne, to get the ball into different playmakers' hands.
Yeah, and as well as that, we talk about the low-risk plays, and going back to what I mentioned before about kind of the clock and situation management in terms of dealing with the wind, right? Slowing things down a little bit here, using up the Argos' time with the wind at their backs.
Has been a bit of a grind so far in this 3rd quarter for Hamilton as Bo looks to Tim White, makes another grab, tiptoes down that sideline, and he'll pick up the first down. Needed 43 yards to reach 4,000 for his career here in the Canadian Football League coming in. And he picked it up on the first time he touched the football here today for a touchdown. He has 2 of them.
Yeah, get that business out of the way early. And focus on trying to get a win here today for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hoping Labor Day success could launch them to a big finish and perhaps a playoff spot.
Certainly trying to track down 3rd spot in the East Division, and the best way to do that is to beat these guys right across from them today. Handoff from Bo Levi goes to Greg Bell. Sign that time. Picks up a solid chunk, and it'll leave them with a 2nd down and 3 yards to go. In comes Giovanni Robinson, the big fullback off the sideline. Fullback tight end. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll let him in the club. We're all fighting extinction.
I don't know how, because if you're as big as Giovanni Robinson with hands and can run, there's a spot for you on the football field. As Hamilton has shown so far this year, they'll hand it off inside Greg Bell. And off to the races he goes, out to the 50-yard line, tackled on the Ticat logo. But another Hamilton first down, and Greg Bell all of a sudden, as you say, grinding away in the 3rd quarter. But when the ground game's working, it is successful big time for all things Hamilton.
Yeah, and watch the bootleg action that you're going to get. Giovanni Robinson releases to the flat, but Bo getting out of there holds the defense a little bit, helps create that opening on the inside for Greg Bell by forcing the contained players to stay on the perimeter.
A lot of different ways to eliminate defenders, sometimes with your body, sometimes with design. That time Hamilton does a little bit of both. They get 1st and 10, go back to Litre as he goes across the 55 and will roll his way close to another first down. As the Toronto front 7 all of a sudden reeling a little bit.
And the former Simon Fraser star having himself a pretty good day here in spot duty in that Hamilton backfield.
Milanovich with 2nd and 1. Gotta wonder some of these situations when you got Tagovailoa on the field. Do they do anything creative? Do they mix and match? Knowing his skill set. Litre just across midfield. Gets behind his offensive line. Fades off to the right-hand side behind David Beard and Coulter Woodmansey. And another first down for the Tiger Cats.
Perfect situational drive here so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, including when you consider the field position that they started with to move the ball this far. Huge success.
Feels like an old high school game at Ivor Wynn right now with the amount of running Hamilton is doing. 4 receivers to the left of Bo, hands it off. Trying to use those bodies out in front. DeAndre Smith lost the battle. That's a great defensive play that time. Looks like that was Quincy Moget getting into the mix. Haven't said his name much, but one of the talented former Georgia Bulldogs. Played a little bit of free safety with the BC Lions before coming over.
Yeah, Moget opened the season as a starter at nickel linebacker for the Argos. He was injured. Robert Priester came in, took over that spot. But Moget still finding himself a role with his versatility here.
Down the field, Mitchell. Royce Metier, the free safety right there, incomplete. DeAndre Smith, closest man to the football that time. It looked like they had Bo protected pretty good, but just couldn't get on the same page.
Yeah, taking a shot there. This one, as the coverage unfolds, turning into a little Griffin on Griffin battle. Metier versus Smith.
Tells me maybe Bo thinks wrong shoulder. A little bit of miscommunication on it, but an effective drive nonetheless, and it rolls the clock in this third quarter all the way down to 3 minutes when Nick Constantino comes out.
Yeah, like you think, Marshall, if they go 2 and out on a possession that starts at their 1 yard line, they're handing the Argos points.
Yeah.
Right? What they've done here is, even coming up empty, still a successful drive for the Tiger Cats.
Well, might not have won the war yet, but that battle, give it to the Tiger Cats. They lead 27-22. The CFL, okay! Tire Labor Day weekend continues today as the Elks take on the Stampeders at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific on TSN. I had to do that just because Chez ran up here into the booth. So,
yes, we've had a security breach. Chez has made his way up from the field.
Running around the stadium, having fun on Labor Day after a crazy travel weekend for our panel. Great to have them on location here at Tim Hortons Field as Chad Kelly digs in, looking to put some more points on the board, trailing by 5, 2:40 remaining in this third quarter. And for Chad Kelly, the incompletion that he had to end the last Argonauts possession, which by the way was before the 6.5-minute Hamilton Tiger Cats strategy, featured almost exclusively running until that Bo Levi Mitchell incompletion. Before that, Chad Kelly had completed all of his last 13 passes.
Certainly settling into a groove. It'll be interesting here now, Marshall, to see with time ticking away on this third quarter if he looks to take a bit of a shot.
Kelly backpedaling, certainly looks like he wants to load it up, and he will. It's Dave Ungerer, one-on-one down the field, makes the grab. Destin Talbert couldn't cut back underneath fast enough. And the former Hamilton Tiger Cat Ungerer, who had a touchdown in the 2021 Labor Day game for the Tiger Cats, he makes the big grab. They'll cross midfield.
Yeah, watch on the right side of your screen. Beautiful adjustment to the football with that ball in the air. He recognizes it's coming, kind of ducks, swims underneath the defender to come back and get it as the ball's hanging up there.
Snap dribbles back to Kelly, picks it up off the Tim Hortons Field turf, pumps, looks down the field, and then slides down. I think Chad's taken enough physicality here in the running game, using his legs, but on the previous play it was his arm that was the story.
Yeah, he puts it up there. This one hangs up a little bit, though. David Ungerer, as you mentioned, the 11th overall pick back in 2019 by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Career high in receiving yards from last year as an Argo. Breaks off his route and comes underneath the defender to make that play.
Really settled in nicely to that wide side wide receiver position in Toronto since going over in free agency as Kelly looks over the middle of the defense, complete. And just outside of the 20-yard line, Tavares Daniels has put together a really solid afternoon here in Hamilton.
Yeah, they're always reliable. Tavares Daniels, as mentioned, maybe seeing his workload within this Toronto offense being upped a little bit with the return of Chad Kelly, given the chemistry that these two guys had a year ago.
4 receivers to the left of Kelly. He'll rip it out there without even finding the laces. Got it out of his hands as quickly as possible with some numbers out there for the Argonauts. But Hamilton's defense rallies to the football, no gain.
Yeah, fantastic defensive play by Destin Talbert on that one. Recognizing the play, beating the block. Stepping up to eliminate any potential Argo gain.
A little lull in the third quarter for the crowd after seeing that 6.5-minute rushing gain. They're back to life here with Kelly and the Argonauts on 2nd and 10. Kelly checks it down underneath. And that's going nowhere. Great open field tackle made on Deonta McMahon. As Jamal Peters makes another play, the former Argos All-Star. And 26 Labor Day Classics of the 53 have come down to the final 3 minutes. 27-22, Hamilton leads with 1 quarter to play. I think we might have another in store for you. Stick around, the final quarter of Labor Day in Hamilton when we return.
Hey CFL family, I'm here to announce a Labor Day 65K. For CFL fans fight cancer, I'm gonna walk from BMO Field to Tim Hortons Field. Please, to support me, please send money to CFL fans fight cancer. I can't wait, it's gonna be fun. Cheers.
The CFL family is incredible. Here's Connor Suave and Dallas Bergen. They walked 65 kilometers starting Friday from BMO Field here to Tim Hortons Field this morning. Coincidentally, it took me that long. I live by BMO Field to drive here. But again, CFL fans fight cancer has been doing this for a couple of years now. They ended up at the tailgate right out by Tim Hortons Field. There are the boys right there. You see that bucket? The goal is $40,000 before game time. They were just under $6,000. Everybody, go to CFL Fans Fight Cancer. Donate. What a cause. The CFL family undefeated. Marsh.
And no doubt about that. Lots of winners involved with that cause. Tremendous work they've been doing over the last little while, Matthew. So we see Dallas and Connor sitting there, taking in a little bit of Labor Day action. I think the legs are tired. A little sore, maybe.
I'll tell you what,
where did they stop? Where'd they grab a nap? Was that Port Credit I saw?
There was some Port Credit footage in there, I am proud to say. They made their way through my hood.
Great afternoon to be able to watch the Argos and Ticats go at it with the season series. Possible right now for Hamilton to take if they can close this out, but Liram Hairolahu putting 3 more through, makes it 27-25 with Bo Levi Mitchell now ready to throw after switching ends of the field. This one high and a huge hit. James Tuck, the fullback, got hung up the wrong direction, and Tavares McFadden, the former leader in NCAA interceptions, took advantage.
Yeah, James Tuck, you can see this one coming in slow motion from our vantage point. McFadden bearing down as Tuck goes airborne to try and make a play here. Absolutely rocked.
The biggest hits we've seen the last couple of years in the CFL. I got a feeling Dallas and Connor might have been talking about that one on the walk home if they're going. As now Bo Levi Mitchell, sack. It's Parrish. So incomplete on first down. And then Parrish goes and gets himself another sack this season, taking down Bo Levi Mitchell, and the Tiger Cats going backwards after just trying to get to this fourth quarter with the wind at their back.
Yeah, Derek Parrish got into this D-line rotation to start the season, a few more reps. Well, Falaro Orimolade was out of the lineup, making a big contribution here. Shut down this Tiger Cat drive.
Argonauts defensive line, best pass rush win rate in the CFL this season, over 51%. As Janarian Grant hauls this one in, gets what he can, but the defense, the Argonauts all of a sudden step it up. McFadden with the massive blow on James Tuck, and then Bo Levi Mitchell. No Levi Mitchell, nowhere to go. 2-point game in the Hammer. Well, the 52nd Labor Day Classic last year. You know, they play this game every year, Dwayne.
Every year, you say.
Look at that. Tavares Daniels into the end zone. Demonte Coxey. A lot of similar characters here, except for this guy, A.J. Olette. Throwing a touchdown pass. Thor's hammer came alive. Toronto went on to win. Right now trying to climb their way back in as Chad Kelly rolls to his right, completes. David Unger on the receiving end there, gain of 14 yards across midfield, and another Argonauts first down.
Yeah, Hamilton jumped out to that big early lead, and the Argos have just been chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. We're now set up for a great finish as Kelly has the Argos across midfield.
Kelly 4-0 in his relatively young career against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. At his 4th career game-winning drive last week as well. Here we are in the 4th, down by 2. Kelly, quick screen pass outside. Kevin Mittal, and he refuses to go down. Wrapped up about the 36-yard line, but back-to-back first downs on first down here for the Double Blue.
And we're seeing a little bit of the full Kevin Mittal package here for the Toronto Argonauts. He's motioning out to the slot just across the numbers. Great block on the outside by Coxey to spring him, but you know, I mean, this is one of the things we marveled at about Mittal at the Combine. This is a guy who's one of the most athletic receivers in the draft, clearly gifted. It's like a 225-pound guy, right? This is
great defensive play that time. Is that one of the former Toronto Argonauts defensive linemen? Yes, Dwayne Hendricks. This is teaching tape right here for any young defensive lineman trying to rip underneath and finish off a running back.
Yeah, you'll see Hendricks in his defensive tackle spot. He's fighting off the block, slicing through to make that play in the backfield.
Ball checks back into the game here. They'll line up. The slot to the top of your screen. They go back to the quarterback draw. Chad Kelly on 2nd and 11. Nowhere to go. Ray Wilborn, number 0. Came onto the roster late, as we said earlier, but he and Nick Usher close it down. And the quarterback draw not going the way that Chad envisioned when they put it in the game plan.
Yeah, I mean, good anticipation in terms of what they were going to see defensively from Hamilton. 3-man front, you know, everybody's dropping off in coverage, so good idea is essentially you only have to beat 3 guys to have a shot at that first down, but the Tiger Cats were waiting on it, it seemed.
A chance to take the lead for the first time all ball game. Never in doubt with Liram Haralahu, 28-27. Toronto is climbing back on top of the black and gold at their house. And a lot of it's been from the right foot of that man, Liram Haralahu. A big turnaround in this ball game since Hamilton came storming out of the gates. As you see right there, Hamilton yet to put any points on the board in this second half as we sit in the 4th with Liram Haralahu chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. All of a sudden, Hamilton trails. Bo Levi Mitchell with the football in his right hand, incomplete. Knocked away. It was intended. It's like Quincy Moget on the coverage, Stephen Dunbar Jr. on the other end.
And now you suddenly, when you're Hamilton, find yourself feeling a little bit of desperation, particularly here at 2nd and 10.
By Mitchell, 2 of his last 6 as he operates at the line of scrimmage, as he's done so much of here this afternoon. Now it's 2nd and 10. Oh, with pressure on to his right, steps back up into the pocket, looks down the field, thinks about going to get it with his legs. He does, slides down at the 53-yard line.
an eye on Jordan Murray. On this one, the right tackle. Little help from the receiver. Fortunately, he's able to pin his man, which helps Bo in that escape. Love it. Love seeing Bo use the legs to extend plays, and in this case, drives.
Second time we've seen him pick up a decent piece today with his feet. As this time Shamar Bridges makes the grab for a minimal gain, but haven't seen a lot of fitness in his game. You know, people kind of joke about it. He's a pocket guy and all the rest, but he manages the pocket well, Dwayne, and when he gets the opportunity, when he's healthy and confident, he's never going to win a race, but he's going to do just enough, which there's been a lot of good Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterbacks who could say the same, including one Danny Mack.
Yeah, that's it. Nobody's looking for him to run for, 70 yards a game or anything like that, but chip in with about 30 in situations like that are, as I said, extending drives. That's winning football.
Well timed, but they need to complete passes like this as well, as they'll say incomplete, looking for Stephen Dunbar Jr. So what felt like a promising drive for Hamilton will end right there on an incomplete pass on 2nd and 8.
Tough one here as it comes in a little bit low. Got hands on it, but Dunbar just unable to pluck it off the turf.
Well, Centino this time hammers it, low line drive, tries to get the spin and can't pin Toronto after a massive kick. So the sink goes up, and that makes it, guess what? A tie ball game.
Yes, sir.
28s across the board. As Chad Kelly now in a tie ball game, 28-28 with 8:28 remaining. How low? Where they're off to for that one. A little international.
You ever been?
Never been. No. Yeah. Stuck in North America. We'll get out of here together someday. Dwayne, you and I, we'll take on the world. Chad Kelly.
I was at Winnipeg last week.
There you go. Yeah. 19 for his last 20. Started 3 of 7 in this ball game. And looks to complete another one here. He does. DeMonte Coxie catches it for a 5-yard gain. Jamal Peters on the tackle and a little slow onto his feet. Peters feeling a little bit of something in that great matchup we've been talking about throughout the afternoon.
Jamal Peters has proven to be a terrific pickup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We talk all the time about needing a lockdown guy at that boundary corner position. Jamal Peters certainly fits the bill.
Lines up there on this play. They throw it at him again, and he flies in. Brings down David Unger. Maybe Ryan Dinwiddie trying to go after Peters, thinking that he had something going on from that previous play in the one-on-one with Coxie, but Peters turned up the battery as soon as the snap came up.
Yeah, I think any opportunity in a contact situation, Jamal Peters will rise to that challenge. A stop for Chris Jones' crew. Opportunity for the Cats to try and take the lead.
Great shot there, too. You could see him actually calling out the play as it was about to happen. Is now a return for Tim White after Jordan Bird is out. Attendants certainly wanted it. It's the late afternoon in the Hammer. Half the stadium in light, the other half shrouded in darkness. The bench side, and those long shadows starting to creep their way up.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling on the last play. They believe there should have been a no-yards penalty. The play will be reviewed.
The second play from scrimmage for the Toronto offense. They used and lost their challenge. Scott Milanovic holding on to his until inside 7 minutes remaining in the fourth. What are you seeing, Dwayne?
Let's take a look, because I was a little surprised that there was no flag on this one. So here you see, yeah, absolutely. Distance from the returner to those closest guys, they appear to be within that 5-yard radius.
Should be of the 15-yard variety, would expect, if indeed it is a successful challenge. Milanovic already into the call sheet trying to sort out what he's going to use, but where will the football be? Here's the call from the command center.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field is overturned. We do have no yards. Toronto number 34. It's going to be first down, Hamilton at the 41-yard line.
Scott Milanovic on it, retains his challenge. You heard the official say to him there as well, and makes a big difference where you start drives from in terms of how they typically end out. Better starting field position, significantly higher points per possession. So Scott Milanovic using it and getting a little bit of extra turf here at Tim Hortons Field is Bo Levi Mitchell. Shamar Bridges, the lone receiver, to the top of your screen, leading the CFL in targets and catches coming in. Mitchell looks over the middle of the field. Keandre Smith and trying to bend it into the middle of the field, and Bo just missed him.
Yeah, with 4 or 5 Argo defenders in the vicinity, but there's a hole there, and Smith gets into it. There you see Bo trying to thread the needle, but yeah, 4 Argo defenders kind of converging on that area and unable to connect.
So much fun though. Fourth quarter of a Labor Day Classic, watching Bo Levi Mitchell trying to manipulate the free safety Royce Metier with his eyes and his shoulders and make a throw. Goes incomplete, leaves 2nd and 10. Mitchell again over the top. Tim White hangs on, crosses the 55. It's complete for a Tiger Cats first down.
You know, no matter how much time you spend around the game of Canadian football, we see Tim White coming out of the inside slot, the number 3 receiver just inside the hash, breaks out. This is one of those throws where the width of the field amazes you. For as far as that ball traveled, you go, it's only a 14 or 15 yard gain.
Right. Well, he got a lot into it to get it all the way out there, as Mitchell did. Now he'll hand it off. Greg Bell running hard past the 45 and gets flipped upside down, but not until he's down at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, nice bit of patience here by Greg Bell right at the point of attack to just watch him delay for a second as he kind of gets behind the guard and then bounces it outside. Nice pickup. Shamar Bridges injured on the play.
Yeah, he came in at the end, looks like lost an edge, had some contact as well. But blocking down the field, trying to spring Greg Bell. Looks like he's got those fresh legs. Only been in the lineup for a little bit this season after James Butler carrying the load early on. And for Bridges, doesn't have as many targets as he typically does throughout the season, averaging about 9.5 targets over each of the last 4 games, but certainly plays a big part in this offense regardless.
And there you see Bridges had an Argo defender who was in pursuit of Greg Bell roll up on his leg. That's him blocking in the middle of your screen. He's got the back of his leg clipped. Yeah, tried to walk it off before realizing he couldn't go.
Ben Major whistles this in as Hamilton gets to the line of scrimmage. They'll go from the 35, as watching on from the sideline on this snap, and at least a couple more, is Shamar Bridges. 3 receivers to the right of Bo Levi. Running play heads that direction. Down at the 29. Greg Bell getting the wheels turning once again. That'll leave 2nd down and 4.
Yeah, another nice run for Bell there, keeping it manageable on 2nd down. Avoid the obvious pass situations that allow that defensive line to tee off.
Tyler Turnowski into the ball game with Keandre Smith. The Canadian receivers at the top of your screen as well. So they'll line up across from Deshaun Amos and Tavares McFadden defensively. Pressure on here from Toronto. Bo gets it out to Robinson, runs through a tackler, stays on his feet, and looks like he's got the first down. They go to the big man, and why not? Catches it at the line of scrimmage. Refuses to be tackled as the officials huddle up to discuss.
Yeah, Giovanni Robinson lined up as a tight end here. Releases from the right side of your screen. Just quick shot out to the flat. think they're trying to figure out exactly when his knee touched down here.
Mark Milton finally the one that tapped him down, but they do move the chain gang all the way to the 21-yard line. 4 minutes remaining in Hamilton. Tie ball game, and a flag comes out now.
On the previous play, Hamilton only had 6 players on the line of scrimmage. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat second down.
So 1 short and take it back.
So if you look out on the wide side of the field, nobody's on the line of scrimmage outside of the tackle on that side. So you have your 5 linemen plus Robinson, who's the tight end. On the right side, that's 6, but you needed one of the receivers to step up on the line over on the left side there.
I mentioned Turnowski was up at the top there, just checking into the ball game.
Yeah, Turnowski had come in when Bridges got hurt.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's ended up in a receiver position that he rarely plays.
Make it 2nd and 9 instead of 2nd and 4, which they already converted with Giovanni Robinson. They'll whistle it in as we roll inside 4 minutes remaining in the Labor Day Classic. Pressure look coming here. And now the finger pointing begins, an annual Labor Day tradition. What say you?
You know, my initial feeling was that it was the Argos crossing the line first, but it looked like Brandon Bordner might have flinched
Procedure.
over their left tackle.
Hamilton, number 53.
Yeah.
It's a 5-yard penalty. It's going to be second down.
Yeah, they did get Bordner, and so 2nd and 4 to 2nd and 9 to 2nd and 14.
Yeah, Bordner, as he saw that blitz trying to get timed up, shuffled his feet a little bit. Keep an eye over here, left tackle. Watch as the blitzer starts approaching. Watch Bordner's feet shuffle as he's getting set to block.
Got out of his stance thinking they'd call it the other way, but it goes against Bordner. So now Bo on 2nd and 14 with pressure on, and the Argonauts defense. It's Falarna Rimolade ripping around the corner.
Well, let's take a look at the man they call Flo. As he picks up his 3rd sack of the season. There it is, dips under. And that's exactly that bend we talked about in the pregame show today. In automotive terms, he has fantastic cornering.
Good edge grip on the tires, we'd say there, as Nick Constantino holds this one down in a tie ball game from 55 yards away. Massive swing in field position. If he doesn't hit it, more than enough leg. And Hamilton retakes the lead with Mark Leggio hammering one. 2:37 remaining in the Labor Day Classic. And could that be your game winner? We'll see when we return. Janarian Grant watches on as Leggio celebrates. Well, we're not done here on OK Tire Labor Day weekend, of course. It's Edmonton up against Calgary as those rivals renew all the hostilities you would expect in Alberta. Jake Mayer warming up, McLeod Bethel-Thompson ready to go as well. An up and down season for both those clubs at various points, but that should be a tremendous matchup. We got work to do, though, here inside Tim Hortons Field, as Mark Leggio just tied his career high in the Canadian Football League with a 55-yard field goal. And it gives Hamilton a 3-point advantage, 31-28, in what is quickly turning into a classic, as you would expect.
A great Labor Day weekend so far. Obviously a fantastic, successful event in Victoria on Saturday. Great finish in Regina last night. We got a close one here.
And all the pressure's on Calgary Edmonton to bring us home.
Sir.
Because the field goal was before the 3-minute warning, Toronto can take the football at their 40-yard line. They choose to do so with Chad Kelly trying to get away from pressure, and the Hamilton defense cashes in. Nick Usher.
And a huge play there. 4th sack of the year for Nick Usher. Previous stops in his career in BC, Montreal, and Edmonton.
Toronto goes quickly here back to the line of scrimmage. So Kelly, after taking the sack with pressure on from behind, gets away. Now he's trying to fight through another tackle, and this one skipped into the turf towards Jamal Peters. It's incomplete, but a 2-and-out for now with Toronto having to stay on the field. Kelly started to run to the sideline and then thought, hey, let's go again, and now he's being told by the punter, John Haggerty, no, it is a 2-and-out.
Yeah, they're going to count on their defense. Try and give them another shot here. Good awareness, I thought, initially by Kelly to know that there's pressure coming from the back. Steps away from that one. Just trying to stay alive as he forces that throw, and lucky to avoid the interception.
So Haggerty trying to create as much space as possible, nearly blocked that time. Flying in with Sermon Bagayogo. Now Tim White has to do returner duties on top of being the touchdown hero in the first quarter with 2 of them to his name, and Hamilton has possession with 1:50 remaining. And is trying to end this Labor Day Classic on their terms.
Yeah, and you hate seeing the injuries that Hamilton has battled in terms of that returner position, but the way things have gone for Tim White the last couple of weeks, maybe don't mind a couple extra opportunities to have the football in his hands.
Yes, Talia Tagovailoa is in the ball game, a touchdown on the ground as well. Interesting to see him here inside 2 minutes remaining, trying to salt away this game, and maybe this is the run-heavy package.
Yeah, I'm anticipating some QB runs here.
And yep, he reads it, pulls it, gets to the outside, and Tagovailoa shows off the wheels a little bit. Stands up, has to avoid taking a penalty that would set them back and stop the clock. Avoids it for now, and Bo Levi Mitchell trying to move to 7-0 in Labor Day Classics, watches on from the sideline.
Yeah. Check. Timeout, Toronto. Excuse me.
And certainly fascinating to see in this critical situation, Hamilton putting the game essentially in the hands of a guy who's getting his first CFL touches.
A lot of trust for a young quarterback to be in this spot.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is obviously a young man who's been on some big stages throughout his career.
After the run, gain of 7 at 2nd and 3. Tagovailoa hands it off. Greg Bell spinning in the hole, almost broke free. Tackled at the 55, and a first down for Hamilton.
And that's a big one. Again, winning football, the ability to run the football when everyone in the building knows that's exactly what you're going to do. Tiger Cats getting it done on back-to-back plays.
Tagovailoa loves it. Running game going to work here. Inside 90 seconds remaining. Bo Levi Mitchell calling it out from the sidelines. Tagovailoa hands it off. Gain of only a couple. And Bo Levi Mitchell with 2nd and long trots off the sidelines.
Yeah, the situation changes here a little bit in terms of what they need, what they're looking for, but fine job done by Talia Tagovailoa.
Bo Levi Mitchell checks in with Keandre Smith and Tim White to his left. They'll empty it out. Greg Bell goes out as a receiver as well. Mitchell looking over the top for Brendan O'Leary. Orange caught it!
Massive.
And Bo looks like he's trying to end his day the way he began it, taking big shots towards the Stiffly Bar here in Hamilton as the Tim Hortons Field crowd comes alive once again.
And look at the job being done by people asked to step outside their comfort zone. Keandre Smith is going to come in here. Receiver being asked to do blitz pickup. Greg Bell clears out. Smith comes in on the left. He picks that up. Critical block on that play. And perfect shot by Bo Levi Mitchell. Great concentration by Brendan O'Leary Orange, the number 2 receiver. He's running down the numbers on this one. Nice job using that right arm to help separate a little bit. The former Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
The smile says it all as the sideline celebrates, including Tagovailoa, because it's been a season of struggle. Obviously at 2-9, Labor Day you wipe that away. But Deshaun Amos was there on the coverage and obviously in discomfort. The Argonauts training staff out to take a look at him with 48 seconds remaining. But for Bo Levi Mitchell, when it's going good, it's going great. And it's come out of his hand as smooth as ever on the Wilson today.
And I know there had been talk of the impending return of Taylor Powell as the starting quarterback. Do we have controversy?
Well, we also have a third thrown into the fray. Tagovailoa having a rushing touchdown today, which should be interesting, but a 48-yard gain with 48 seconds remaining here in this ball game. And hate to see Deshaun Amos injured, but what a great shot that is of the crowd celebrating Brendan O'Leary Orange, who had an interesting journey himself throughout his early years in the Canadian Football League, as has Taylor Powell backing up Bo Levi Mitchell over the last couple.
Well, there you see Taylor Powell on the sidelines. We saw him throwing pregame today. Good to see him getting back at it after some scary moments following his injury against Edmonton a couple of weeks ago.
Tagovailoa goes to have a conversation with Scott Milanovich and the officials. As we take a look at the CFL standings as they are right now, winding down OK Tire Labor Day weekend here in the CFL's East Division, as strong as it has been since 2001. From top to bottom, even with the 2-9 Hamilton Tiger Cats sitting at the bottom there, but doing everything they can to try and win this game, take the season series from Toronto, and give themselves some hope down the stretch that they could make an East semifinal, even as a road team.
Yeah, well, and fascinating to hear talk of, well, maybe Hamilton's best route is as a crossover team. They were actually talking about the possibility of an east to west crossover for the first time in CFL history.
Say never happened before, as you see Deshaun Amos holding arm or wrist, moving slowly to the side. So as he clears off the field, Levi Mitchell on the sideline in conversation with Scott Milanovich. And if we thought the run-heavy package was out before, man, is it ever coming right now? But will they play off of that, do a little chestnut checkers, and let Talia throw the football here?
I would think that they are going to limit the risk as much as possible under the circumstances.
30 seconds remaining in the Labor Day Classic. Tagovailoa holds onto the football, gets wrapped up, brought down for a loss on the play. Jake Serezna and Quincy Moget were all over that one from the second the football was snapped.
Yeah, Jake Serezna and Quincy Moget were also betting that they were going to go very low risk in terms of the play call with Tagovailoa in the ball game. He's either handing it off or he's running it. He is not throwing.
With a 3-point advantage. Second and goal, technically. The crowd gets into it. They'll wait this one out. Bo Levi Mitchell will move to 7-0 as a starting quarterback. His first Labor Day Classic in 5 years, not since 2019, has Mitchell been at the helm on Labor Day. Of course, that back in Calgary before his time moving here to Hamilton. Couldn't play in this game last year, but now he is officially a winner in the Hamilton-Toronto Labor Day Classic Series.
And a well-deserved win going on Bo's record. Started strong, which is one of the things they've been looking for from him all year. Came out slinging it, finished strong, did what they had to do down the stretch to set up the game-winning Mark Leggio field goal. Contributions up and down the roster for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in gutting out this one.
The Toronto Argonauts 5-1 at home this season, but just one win on the road. That trend continues as they look to get back some bodies in the second half of this season, including Wynton McManus, their standout all-star linebacker. Bo Levi Mitchell makes his way around the field. Conversation with so many people who know him and his history around the Canadian Football League. But for him to be able to close this thing out and do it in fashion with that big throw down the left rail to Brendan O'Leary orange, quintessential Bo Levi. This time, it's in black and gold instead of red and white that he's done so many different times throughout his career. As we send it down to Kate and the panel to get you set for the back end of our Labor Day doubleheader.
All right, Marshall, and what a game it was. And you know what? For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, it was just 4 points in the second half, but that's all they need. And currently walking up to the panel is going to be Bo Levi Mitchell, the quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And I'll tell you this, Bo loves playing on Labor Day. That is a perfect now 7-0 record for Bo. And as I said, lit it up in the first half, ends up with 347. I also like the package that they had going with Tagovailoa and the run package as well. But you know what? Why not wait for Bo to come on this panel and ask about it himself? And I'll just tell you this is such a big monumental win for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and there he is. Bo Levi Mitchell, welcome to the panel.
And we're going to make you stand up. We're going to make you stand up.
Hey, buddy. Hey, welcome.
That was for us?
That was for y'all.
Oh, my God. Look at that.
Bo, let's start with this performance. And 7-0 now for yourself in Labor Day games. You know you love playing on this day. But for this team, in the 4-game losing streak coming in and then putting home a performance like that in front of the home crowds, what does it mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot to be able to come out here in front of these fans. They work so hard in this city. And to show the other city that we're not going to mention, you know, what we're made of over here in Hammertown, it was awesome, man. It's just a great job from the team coming out and getting a win.
And you haven't played in this game in a few years. Did the energy feel the same for you coming in for today? Did it remind you of past days?
Hey, I'll say this is a great energy right here. I don't know if there's a better one. You know, just Steeltown coming out, man. Just especially you get that touchdown out there early, they start getting hyped up. They start talking to their team, man. It's a great feeling to be able to play that well in front of them.
Well, you know, Davis talks about energy. I was watching you, and you're like a conduit. You're a conduit of energy, and it felt like it was just coming off your fingertips, and you just were throwing with so much confidence. First play, you missed a little drag across the middle. 2nd and 10, you feather one over the top, and you get your anytime touchdown.
Sure did, Tim White.
And from that point on, you were locked in a conduit of energy down in that football field, just directing this football team. Did you feel that?
I did. I mean, I was listening to J. Cole, Love Yours, and talked about it with Milt pregame, man. Just loving what you do and you know who you have and where you're at and being where your feet are. So yeah, I felt it. Man. I tried to bring the energy today, and I think everybody built off of it.
Oh, it was discernible, and I can see it, and it looks good on you, Bo. Hey, congratulations.
That suit looks good on you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate
it's the wrong damn color, though.
Well, hey, I don't have a lot of gold. I don't have a lot of gold suits, do you?
Well, Bo, you made some exceptional throws today, but I want to talk about how you found the fountain of youth and the way you're running. Bo, we haven't seen you run like that since you was back in Katy, Texas, and now you're looking light, you're looking fleet-footed. Benjamin Buttons, you're looking young and fleet. Talk about that.
Yeah, you were talking to the guy earlier, right? Marcellus Bowman.
Yes.
I mean, that guy put so much work, so much time in with me. And, you know, Scott's in the headset, man. I started scooting in the pocket, and he's in there just run. You know, he's making sure I got down, too. But it's good to bring that out every now and then. It makes it tough on the defense.
It's like a video game out there.
A little something like that, yeah.
You know,
it looked like one today.
Speaking of legs, Bo, we got to talk about Talia Tagovailoa here. You had some packages run for him today, too. And I just saw your excitement on the sideline as well. But that's really the first time we had seen him in the CFL. Talk about this young man and how he worked.
Well, he obviously comes from an amazing family, right? That kid he's not here because of his brother's name. He's here because of what he's done, the work he's put in. And the work that he put in, honestly, we talk about look teams all the time with scout team, right? He's done such an amazing job all year, and he had to be Vernon Adams. He had to be Trey Ford. And all of a sudden, we started looking at it like, hold on, man, I think we have something here. And, credit Scott, man. That guy's a mad genius creating plays and made sure that we had some stuff in for that guy.
When you were getting back to your drops with a clean pocket, we almost knew you had something. And when you let go of the ball, you felt it. Is there stuff you saw on the film? Because it seemed to me as if you knew you were clean, you thought you had some success.
I'll tell you what, man. I think we got the best O-line in the league. And when that pocket's clean, Scott creates plays that are going to be there. They're going to be open. Now, we had multiple touchdowns today that we did not hit. So we're going to clean that up. I mean, that's an amazing D-line. Like, you got Ceresna, you got Flo, guys that push the pocket, guys can get around the edge. So, for all in all, an amazing job.
Are you healthy as you've been in a while?
Healthy as I've ever been, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bo, I'm a big believer in Greg Bell and as a two-way weapon. And talk about him being in the backfield with you right now and how good it feels to have a guy that's such an explosive ability as he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's an explosive player, man. He's a guy that can obviously do it with when you're handing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. You see the jump cut, right? Like, he's got an amazing jump cut that he likes to hit. I just keep telling him, man, lock that damn ball up. Every time he keeps getting 10 yards down the field, he wants to spin and jump over somebody. But he's done an amazing job. And I'll tell you this, James Butler, I still think he's one of the best backs in the league. And I wish he was out here with us.
Good on you for bringing him up, because you got two of them right there. Pretty nice to have that.
Tim White, one of the best athletes in this league. You and him seem to be finding a connection right now. 2 weeks in a row, big numbers. Talk about that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is the first week that the wind started to get kind of cool, and I think he likes that September, October weather, right? He always comes through that second half of the season, starts killing it. Last week in Winnipeg, we had a great connection. He made a lot of great plays. But I mean, we run this offense through him. When he's doing what he does, we're hard to stop.
Bo, you can hear the fans behind you. They're obviously appreciative of the effort today. Thanks so much for dropping by the panel. Congratulations on the victory.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Happy Labor Day, Bo Levi Mitchell. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send it back down to the field and join our Matthew Shinetti.
180 yards and 2 touchdowns, Tim, but how good does this win feel, knowing how hard it was to actually get and where you guys are in the standings?
It feels extremely great. There's one that we definitely needed. We showed up, we showed up early, and then we continued to battle late into the game. It was just a great game overall.
Take us through the game plan. Was it the plan to attack them early, to attack them deep, and to put up points?
I think all of us were pretty excited when we seen the game plan. You knew something special was going to happen. We just had to come out here and execute that game plan.
A word for your quarterback. He's now 7-0 in Labor Days, but his first win here at Tim Hortons Field on this day.
Hey, congratulations, man. Keep on balling. We're not finished yet. We're not done yet.
And how do you carry this over to a playoff push? Because you guys are 3-9 now, but beating the Argos with the Red Blacks loss opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, we understand that the job is not finished. We're ready to continue to push. We're going to get more focused. We're going to get more detailed and just continue to craft, come out here and play ball.
Congratulations, Tim.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
You know what? It is so nice to see Tim White smiling at the beginning of the season. I mean, it was a bit of a rough go, and then seeing a game like that, and Bo just told us that he likes September. He likes the fall, and this is where you need to put up performances like that. Milt, when we were in the pregame show, you said Tim White's going to have a big game today, and right at the start of this game, that's exactly what he produced.
He's a special player. He's just not a special athlete. He's a special player, and as you talked about, there was some struggle at the beginning of the season. But when you're as good as he is, you're going to get over that. And the main thing is not a physical thing. He knows he can make the plays. It was that mental hurdle. And once he got over that mental hurdle, it was all downhill from there. It's hard to keep him contained. Bo Levi Mitchell understands that we have to find a way to get him the ball. I'm sure head coach Scott Milanovic understands the same. Regardless if he's double covered, triple covered, you force him the ball because once the ball is in his hands, with his athleticism, with his speed, with his quickness, he's going to make some plays, and we've seen that 2 weeks in a row. So I'm sure they're hoping to keep it going because once they get the ball in his hand, as Bo Levi Mitchell mentioned, they run the offense through him, and everyone feeds off of that.
Yeah, you can see he's one of those guys in space. You can't handle him one-on-one. There's a handful of guys that I watch when I'm down there, and I think they're special. I agree. He's one of those guys. But it all started up front, and it started early. They came out the gates extremely physical, offensively, defensively, and I said it at halftime. I just felt like this game, the Labor Day Classic, what this game means. Now, they came out with a different energy, and it was palpable, and they carried it through the game. Now, give Toronto credit. They made a run. At the end of the day, the physical plan, we saw it, Matt, but when Bo got back there with a clean pocket, as good as he is with that deep ball, if they were able to protect him, I felt like they would have success just because of everything we talk about. Bo's deep ball, Tim White, their receiving core, but it started up front with a dominating physical play from that offensive line.
Yeah, when you're 2-9, there's not a lot of good things to talk about, you know, and you just got to take it 1 week at a time, 1 play at a time. Get off to a start like they did today was huge for this crowd, for both. The offense, the defense responded. Leggio was perfect. It was just one of those ball games that they needed, and they're going to have to continue to stay humble with some confidence and take it one step at a time to claw back in this. And you heard Bo talk about Scott Mladenovich and putting him in good situations. I was just impressed with those two as much as I was with Ryan Dinwiddie and Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly, I thought, weathered the storm. Is really his first taste of this, you know, this year. And Milton was one of those things where, hey, I give him credit because they battled back and they had the lead at one point there in the fourth quarter, 28-27. And he said, man, this is going to be a big victory for them on the road. This is going to launch them into the second half. Well, Toronto, they faltered down the end. Chad threw a pick with pressure into space on 2nd and long, and he's got to learn from that. You can't throw the ball into rest, and I think he will. And this football team took it on the chin tonight because they were in position to win this game late.
Yeah, just a monster win by the Hamilton Tiger Cats at home. Let's go back to Matthew standing by with Jamal Peters.
Jamal, I know you've had big days here wearing double blue, but what does this win mean?
Man, it means a lot. I had this one circled since I signed. You know, ain't no bad blood over there, but I just knew I had to make a huge impact for us to win this game. But shout out to the offense, man, the whole team, man. We just came together as one, and we got the job done.
Describe to us how difficult it was. You have a new, I mean, we're calling him a special defensive assistant, but you have a new coach on that side of the ball. You put up points early, but then you know number 12 on the other side. What were the conversations like on the sidelines, knowing that Chad Kelly was going to keep the Argos rolling?
Oh, just stay poised. That's all we had to do. Just stay poised. Continue what we do. Like we know, like we was good throughout the whole week of practice. We were well prepared. I mean, like we knew they were going to make runs, but the main thing, let's just stay poised and then come together as one and just keep Chad in the pocket and then just make our play when it comes to us.
Before the season, you and I talked about the chirps you used to get here when you were part of the Argos. You ready for some love from this city after this win today?
Oh, yeah, man, that's what I've been waiting on. I mean, I know we had a slow start, you know, early in the year, but, man, the real season start today. We got the job done. I'm glad that they're on my side and finally, and I just love the fans. I love everything about the city of Hamilton.
Thank you, Jamal.
Yes, I appreciate you.
All right, and you know what? It is the start of a new season. We always say that in the CFL. After Labor Day, it's when things certainly get real. As we take a look at the updated East Division standings, of course, Montreal on the bye this weekend, just chilling on their couches, watching everyone else play. They're at 10-1. But for Hamilton, I get it. They're only at 3-9. But I'll tell you this, they got an absolutely huge monster matchup coming up next against the Ottawa Red Blacks. And you watch, there's still a lot of football to be played here, Milton-Stiegel. And for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I mean, they believe. We're watching all these post clips come in, and sometimes you just need a day like today.
That's all you need sometimes. You need something to slingshot you out of it. You get these fans back involved, and everyone has an opportunity. Yes, it's going to be a tough battle, but they can get it done. Bo Levi continues playing that way. They got a good running back, defense, Chris Jones, everyone, that confidence. If you have that confidence, anything is possible.
Kate, you mentioned the West too, right?
Yeah.
And Edmonton's in a similar situation as Hamilton, and they're going to come out on all cylinders, hopefully, and get back into it because they're moving in the right direction. And the Calgary Stampeders coming off a bye week, they should have some fresh legs, should have a hop in their step. Should be one heck of a battle on the second game of this doubleheader.
I love what I've seen from Taylor Powell when he's been out there in the limited time I've seen him, and I love what I saw from Bo today. And I think that the head coach over there,
how do you sit him down? How do you sit him down?
Has a great problem going into next week. He got two guys that he knows can play.
Well, you know what? Here's the problem, too. What's going to happen with Edmonton as well? I mean, are we going to see Trey Ford as well? Who knows? By the way, we should always have fans behind us. I think this should be a permanent thing for us. Meanwhile, we have the Battle of Alberta coming up here on TSN. Jake Mayer, 2-1 in the Labor Day Classic. MBT, he's only won one before. And Trey Ford, he hasn't won one, but someone's got to be a winner tonight.